Oh, was that off?
Well, it's actually power cycle.
Oh,
This one.
The host schools I don't need help, but I'm not seeing. I have to uncheck this. To get that, okay, there we are.
Oh, yeah.
There's that now. Is there anything up on the?
No. All right, let's see.
Sorry,
You're
we keep
fine.
putting my head on
Fine.
the silent.
But it's actually displaying the video. So the meetings being recorded. Is this normally displaying the video
Yes,
during the meetings?
yes. We don't know why.
Everything worked this month with your Gary. They worked this month with your registry. You didn't email me to say that there was an
Sheriff.
No, I do, too. I think we're fine, yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
3 times the
It'll be
charm.
wherever it's being recorded at, just not. Listen, as far as the report goes. This is just fine, so. This TV is just not showing us it now,
Okay.
but your camera's running.
Yeah.
Okay,
You're recording.
okay.
So
So I'm okay
you're
there.
okay there. The only thing that we have to figure out right now is why this isn't. If this is that,
It's not.
then this is what's right now.
Yeah.
We're seeing everybody. So what we're gonna do is because you have a meeting. That's fine. Get your people.
Okay.
We're not gonna worry.
Okay.
Nobody here sitting at this table needs to worry. So
No, they don't.
after the meeting is done, we're gonna come back down. But you're gonna have to do this tomorrow too, right?
Yeah, I
Or
know.
whenever.
It won't be this camera.
It'll be those.
No.
But we need to address this because we're gonna. This, you're good. Hitting everybody.
See, it's all, we're helping this though from the, with this.
What do you mean?
What we're doing right now.
Oh, I mean, that's fine. I mean, it started right now and then. Chris, you normally put that or something?
We just fucking know.
I mean, I'm not. I mean, what this is.
No.
You just started it 3 minutes ago.
That's fine.
3 minutes ago. But don't worry about this right now. This. Will come up afterwards. They're not working. Well, it's recording there. It's just not showing. This is going, we have to figure out.
And that's what, yeah, right, yeah, yeah, I was.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, we're gonna come back up past the boards and we'll do. it.
You're good, you're good.
But it's- But no, the cam, but the cameras on, you're thing, you're doing.
Yeah, because we did like.
Or if you adapt.
I jumped in.
Or maybe they have some of the information. If you want to.
Yeah.
That's.
I don't know.
I don't want you to get, you don't.
I
get
get
process.
Screen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll come back up
And we'll work
afterwards.
on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe there's something on.
Well, we don't care about. It's more.
Well,
It's
we're
different.
gonna.
So I put it out there.
Yeah.
So you have it? Not really, but when they're ready. I'll get mine.
You want to see?
It's okay if I just sit up there.
Yeah, why don't you hang on,
Yeah.
just make sure, so, yeah, but we'll step out, but
Yeah.
afterwards, we're gonna come up here because my concern is maybe the HDMI's not loose, this one back on there, so we'll have to see, okay?
I
But
can
we'll-
check that too.
Yeah, we'll check it afterwards, but that way they don't have to wait. on it.
Okay, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Jump in just to make sure that,
Yeah.
and I'll jump in and make sure I can hear and see.
Okay, I'm gonna admit everybody in a minute.
Oh, you're sorry.
I don't get it, like, talk about.
Wait a second. During the workshop.
You're back here, right?
Yeah, exactly another reason why I was going to.
All right, should I admit all?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's.
At the end of the.
I get it started.
Yeah, but I was gonna leave it on.
Okay. Leave it on for tomorrow, that's not a problem. Okay. Okay. Yes. Are you logging in? Logging in?
It's running.
Just.
Oh, we're on? Oh, I don't see no picture.
I'm not going to.
Oh,
Leave it be. It's reports.
okay.
Okay.
We're missing Commissioner
It
Ritter.
was not.
What
I
the-
don't really love to because staring.
Stop it.
Staring.
Like Commissioner Miller said, they can't start the meeting.
Hello.
Good. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Yep. A common,
Well, it's not gonna matter. Very few hours, that would make this number.
Welcome.
How are you?
I'm sorry, I was even phone
Oh, no, you're good.
I would
Don't worry about it.
What is it?
We'll work on it.
Yeah.
Steve told me to check those.
It's.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
no.
Everybody's around.
We're doing them. Oh, so I was like 2 years. Or friends. Okay. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. We put it out back. It's all from back. It's like, Excited for it out.
Yeah.
That's a good.
Yeah. Are we out of?
Yeah.
Here's what I'm saying. I love these. Just. These are shot notes. Me, I'm like, bullet, that's it.
Oh, no, we're gonna like this.
Yes, yeah. You know, for these, something that's.
Waiting around.
Okay.
We can't do it. We're. Oh, yeah, that's. Yeah.
Hey, everyone, welcome. If everybody has signed in, start the workshop meeting. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Hey, Lisa Denuncia, Blair Clerk. Mr. Malloy,
Here.
Mr. Bernard,
Here.
Mr. Hernandez.
Here. Thank you, everyone. We apologize. We're a little bit late. We had a planning commission meeting today. Commissioners, I think everybody's running a little. Agenda item 1, to dispense the reading of the minutes of the workshop dated August 26th, 2025, and the regular meeting on August 27th, 2025. 2, to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the special meetings dated August 29th, 2025, and September 3, 2025. 3, we approve the bills. 4, to approve additional appropriations submitted by the Trumbull County Auditor for the dates of August 21 through September 3rd, 2025, as listed. Any questions on that, Commissioners? 5, approve appropriations submitted by the Trumbull County Auditor between the dates of August 21 and September 3th, 2025, as listed. No questions, I'll move forward. Commissioner? Good to go. Okay. Agenda item 6 is to adopt a resolution approving the submitted list labeled ORC 570541D, July 2025, of the purchase orders to various vendors as then and now. Purchase orders in compliance with ORC 5705.41D. Mr. Hickey, I don't know if it's, would this be you?
John Hickey, Trumbull County EMA.
All it is, we're creating a line item budget for Trumbull County Water Rescue Team for funding. So they can, put funding into it, apply for grants. So it'd be no different than hazmat, the fire investigator, LEPC. No different
Or just to create a fund,
for that.
revenue, or not revenue, but, for funding.
Yeah.
Funding source.
John, what would the difference be between the sheriff's department's dive team and this water rescue team?
Totally separate. Yeah. They determined back, they wanted to keep it separate, totally two different entities.
Thank you, Mr. Hickey. Eight, is there anyone here from the Trumbull County Adult Probation? Anybody representing? No. Okay, eight. Agenda item 8, to establish creation of the two new funds as listed for the drug court program. Financials will be overseen by the Trumbull County Adult Probation Department. And these are funds as listed. Fund 146, Fund 147. Any questions, commissioners, on that? Anything? 9, Trumbull County Engineer, Gary.
Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, Gary Schaefer, County Engineer's Office. Number 9 is to approve the service agreement between our office and the Village of Orangeville, so we can provide construction administration services. So it's an agreement, just spells out the costs that will be reimbursed through the grant and the locals for that project. 10 is to concur with our office and grant the right-of-way permits listed. 11 is concur with our office to grant special hauling permits for overweight equipment. 12 is to concur with our office, grant the special annual supplier fleet permits listed for those companies. Permits this month. Concur with our office. 13, close those roadways. Very Jacoby for culvert replacements, and that's in conjunction with the ARPA project. Which we funded that project. Get out of words and replacing those culverts this week and next week. Something else, Levitt Road, additional bridge replacement repairs last week. And then the rest are culverts, educational highways for that 5K. That's it.
Okay, I see Jake is on. Just that, right by Jake, right?
It's going good.
Looks
We
great.
haven't made it up to get to see. Yeah, but I heard it went well. It's nice to get that done. Another thing, we got the request for the restrike the double lane to
Oh,
the city, so we're doing it. It's gonna be no pass the entire line. So,
And I think we're gonna have to post more city police on that road now too. Back, they just fly up.
and
I like
take
a
care of
lot.
the potholes and
Yeah.
the speed kicks up a little. It won't take long, we'll slow back down. Stop.
Thank you, Gary. Move on to Daryl here.
He's not.
No, okay. I did have a question about this, but I'm gonna read it. To approve the remodeling of the fourth floor of the stone building for Trumbull County Adult Probation by Lewis Construction from Warren, Ohio, out of Warren, Ohio. The amount is $75,267, and this will be paid from funds from the Trumbull County Adult Probation. My question is, and maybe I'm wrong, but I see a $20,000 difference from Dawn Incorporated from this bid. Is there something? What's?
Daryl mentioned that there were exclusions. And
Oh,
the
it wasn't
exclusions,
apples
it
for
put them-
apples?
Right, it put them over 75.
As the prosecutor's office, have you looked at it, Bill?
No, Commissioner Bill Danso, Prosecutor's Office. This is one where, technically you guys are squeaking in just under the $77,000 competitive bidding threshold for calendar year 2025. And generally in those cases, it's pretty much gone straight through your facilities department and then to the board of commissioners. You know, legally speaking, we can look at it if that's what the board wants. I've got no problem with that.
Yeah,
The only thing I would say though is obviously if it gets into like the weeds of the actual construction and things like that, you know, those are not things I'm gonna be an expert in, so I'll have to rely on your facilities folks still for those kind of things.
Yeah, it's just that there's too much going on when you look at the bids. That I could just see change order. There's so much stuff going on. I would rather, and we're right on that bubble of things. Then when you got a $20,000 difference and we didn't go with the cheaper one, why, you know, I need more answers on that.
And like I said, I have no problem taking a look at it. It's no problem at all.
Was it Daryl that brought this up, Lisa?
Yes.
Okay. I would agree that it drew my attention as to that. That's a pretty big amount of money and I don't know what, you know, so.
Okay, well, this prosecutor.
I'm Ashley Sweetbus, I'm with Dawn Incorporated. So no one came back to us on the exclusion, so I'm not sure how they could have figured out that we would have, you know, been $20,000 higher had it been apples to apples. There were no specifications, no plan. We were just contacted through a contact form on our website and we gave them a quote. I mean,
Well,
we'd
that's
be
even
happy
more
to
reason for us
provide.
to look into, you know, what this is about. So, yeah, we're gonna, this won't be awarded until we have our prosecutor's office look into it as well and find out. And then I would suggest then, that we get a hold of Dawn Incorporated, to let you know of whatever findings were found.
Yeah, we'd be happy to
Just so
relate
you
the
know.
price if, you know, you do have drawing specifications. If
I
we
don't
find
know,
out
I'm
Lewis-
the legal counsel to know about a rebid once it's done, but, you know.
Well, it's supposed to bid though, right?
Yeah, so Bill Danso, prosecutor's office, again, this was not competitively bid, so
Proposal.
if we get to the point where we think we're, you know, and generally, I will say my general advice is when we're getting close to the competitive bidding threshold, it's often better to go down that path, just in the case that there are change orders, overages, unexpected things. So we could certainly, and there's nothing that would prohibit us from going back and getting competitive bids, doing another round of proposals with revised specifications. We can do all that depending on where we fall and what we need to do. So that's not a problem.
And this is Daryl's first go, because he's new, and I just think it's too close in the bubble there to not dot every I and cross every T, especially with the discrepancy in the funds, you know, and it just doesn't smell right all the way around.
Sure.
Is there an architect drawing or anything on this? Does anybody know?
Yes, Alex Johnson, Bush Human Resources Department. This is, I'm just gonna say that I concur with what Attorney Danzo said, and there's a reason. This scope has changed multiple times. This has to do with the stone building. We encouraged that, you know, to be able to do some work over there. We went back over there, walked the building with Daryl, because what we were able to determine was we really truly only are going to be responsible for the upper, so fixing the roof, and once we fix the roof and the HVAC and all of that. Interior, the adult probation, and everybody decided that they were willing to pony up their own money, so to speak, to fix things that they wanted to make look better, not things that maybe necessarily were within the scope, things that they want to change, carpeting, so on and so forth, you know, so. I do believe the scope has changed, to your point, multiple times. So I think, and I did also stress this morning that I as well felt that it was coming close to that line. And if there was one change order, that this might be something that we need to make sure that we just look at collectively before we go forward. So I concur with what Attorney Danza said. I think there are some operational nuances that Daryl's trying to work through, but he was also handed off the goods that again wasn't very clear. So in his defense. So I think we just have a little bit more work to do, Commissioners.
And with adult probation paying the fund, they're not skilled in this stuff either. This isn't something they do every day. So we've learned from past mistakes, and I'd rather err on the side of
Safe.
doing it right than not.
Oh, I think we're all in agreement.
We're on an agreement on that.
So we'll remove this from the agenda and
Yeah. Lisa, let's remove that.
Well, talk to Darren when he gets back and have him talk to the prosecutor and see about what the scope is now exactly.
If Dawn has any questions, reach back to, either the commissioners or either one of them.
Well, we'll probably have to submit a. I think all the questions.
That's the best way to go.
Right. Yeah.
That'll be the best way to go.
Yeah, reach out to us, reach out to their own.
Right. Okay. Is Nick here? Oh, here's Nick.
Nick Coggins, Trumbull County Planning Commission. Agenda item number 15 is to enter into an agreement between the Trumbull County Commissioners, the Trumbull County Planning Commission, and Lake to River Economic Development Agency. This is a contract we do annually for our business retention, expansion, and attraction program. Lake to River is our sole source provider. They're our designated local economic development organization through the Jobs Ohio Network. And this is renewing our agreement with them. Like I said, we do this on an annual basis for the amount of $45,000 to be paid for equal installments.
Now I see in the transfer appropriations, we have 22,000 Lake to River dues. What's the difference?
Lake to River dues.
It's on today for the transfer
Can you help me?
appropriations.
Sheriff Taylor, Commissioner's Office, that it was from the former purchase order that we were short in that purchase order to cover for the rest of the year. This is for upcoming. This is
Last
new.
year's
Yes.
dues?
Yes.
This is new dues?
Yes,
Or were we short on the last one?
for various reasons. If it enough wasn't put on it, the budget was slashed, everything was slashed, so various reasons.
So they were paid, this is just our internal thing.
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. No. Yeah, we paid them. This is just the new contract for our agreement from this September through next September.
And we had a meeting a couple weeks ago, they explained all that.
And I'd like to make it clear too, commissioners, there was a report on a news channel, 21 News, that said that they received $1 million. This goes to show you that money that the commissioners had, you recall, when they had this report that, this watchdog report that the CEO or the chairman, what have you, all this stuff that the Trumbull County, for a yearly contract at $45,000 is a gift for what Lake to River produces in the economic development that working with our planning commission and what they're able to, to do for us. So just to make it clear.
And that million that the media was saying went to Lake River did not. It went to Valley Vision 2050, which is split between 8 or more entities.
Right.
For the Valley Vision 2050 program. They didn't report it correctly and they want to know if we wouldn't have a say in who they're picking their executive director was because of the million. And no, it had nothing to do with that. We're just a dues paying member like many other groups are.
We have to make it clear because we don't have the opportunity, if the media is reporting on it, we don't have the opportunity. Well, here's the opportunity that we need to let it be known. Okay. Jack, you on 16?
I am 16 as well. Nick Coggins, Trumbull County Planning Commission. 16 is to authorize the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners to adopt the current fee schedule related to the administration of the Trumbull County subdivision regulations. If you recall, a couple weeks ago, we presented a proposal that was supported by the Planning Commission to increase our fees. This is the increase that we came up with based on looking at other areas, same size counties in our surrounding areas. So we're currently at $10. This proposal is per resulting lot. This moves it up to $25 per resulting lot. We will still be the lowest in the area, but we have not increased our fees since 1991. So this is a little bit past due.
And to make it clear too, we had discussed this. This isn't a moneymaker.
No,
This is
won't
not
even cover the cost
probably
of
breaking
doing it.
even. So
No, it will not break even for the
Yeah.
amount of work that has to go into that service, but it'll be generating a little bit more than what we currently are. So it's a nominal increase. We're still the cheapest in the area. And it's a past due increase to keep us at least close to our surrounding areas. Item number 17, to adopt a resolution authorizing the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners to apply for, accept, and enter into the EY 2026 Water Pollution Control Loan Fund Agreement for repair and replacement of home sewage treatment systems. This is what we call the HSTS grant, home sewage treatment systems. It helps low and moderate income people with septic systems, and sometimes for replacement or repair of their current septic system. And sometimes we use that to partner with the sanitary engineering and connect them to sewage and sanitary engineering. This is an annual grant that we go after on behalf of the commissioners. This is just the BY 2026 renewal. Or not renewal, that's a word, but going after the new year grant. Item number 18, to accept the maintenance bond number CIC 1961663 issued by Capital Indemnity Corporation for the Emmanuel Community Care Masonry and Windows Project funded by the 2023 CDBG Community Development Block Grant installed by Escajeda. I don't know how to pronounce that, but doing businesses, Alex Restoration Masonry Repair. This is one of our PY 2023 Community Development Block Grant allocation projects. They did masonry repair and window replacement at the Emmanuel Community Care Center, which was an eligible nonprofit that was selected for that. They completed the work. This is pretty standard, accepting a maintenance bond for 2 years on the work completed. Just in case anything goes wrong, we get the maintenance bond to repair the work. And item number 19. 3.5 members is listed of the Trumbull County Transportation Improvement District for a 2-year term commencing September 28th, 2025 through September 27th, 2027 in accordance with section 5540.02D of the Ohio Revised Code. Transportation Improvement District was created September 27th, 2023, and the Board of Commissioners pursuant to section 5540.02 of the revised code. We appoint 5 members per the revised code section D. There are only 2-year terms. So everybody that is on that board is expiring this September 27th. I've spoken to each of the members. Each of them have expressed interest in having a renewal to be on that board. So this is a request to renew all 5 of the current board members of the TID that are slated right now. Auditor Martha Yoder, County Commissioner Denny Malloy, County Engineer David DeCristofaro, Eastgate Regional Council of Governments Executive Director James Kinnick, and your Trumbull County Office of Economic Development, myself. And those are, I think that's the last agenda item I got. Yep, that's it.
Okay, Nick. Thank you. Very good. We'll move on to Trumbull County Sanitary Engineer, Gary Newbrow.
Gary Newbrow, sanitary engineer. First off, Nick, I need you to take this down.
Thanks.
All right, on our Brookfield wastewater treatment plant upgrade project, the consultant engineer, they have tallied up the final numbers on this and quantities, and this involves a change order to the net reduction of $14,950.70. Total cost of that upgrade to the general contractor was $17,786,055.66. So that money's going back where? That is a WPCLF loan that we have. Okay. And we have to make payments on that. Item 21, same thing as what Nick was talking about with the planning commission put in for those HSTS funds. It's WPCLF nomination time for the next round. Nominations are due September the 22nd. Caleb Road sewer project is going to be one of my nominations. This is basically phase 3 of the Meadowbrook project in Port Township. This one here is the one where I am trying to get the $4 million principal forgiveness. That phase also. Very similar to item 2.
This is the WPCLF application for a train drive sewer project. This one won't get further forgiveness because it wasn't complete left. But we still need to nominate this and get the 0% financing for the loan board.
Very good. Thank you, Gary. The honor of having Diane Jerkovic here, Senior Services,
Diane Jakovic,
or Jerkovic.
Senior Levy Administrator,
Ah.
used to it.
My wife often will say the same thing. I say something. Welcome. Mr. Jerkovic.
Item number 23 was to accept the resignation of Mitchell Paxson. He was recently appointed on August 6th. He came to one meeting and realized there's a lot more work to be done than just attending a meeting once a month. If I can make a suggestion, when you come up with your recommendation for the council, you can have them call me so I can explain what the volunteer position entails, so that we don't go through this round of people coming on and leaving, coming on and leaving. We've had quite the turnover this last year due to not the fact that they don't want to be on the board, but life circumstances keep them from being able to be a good member. So these people have resigned, and we have 4 new people sitting here in the room right now are 5 of the 11 members that we normally would have on the council. So I'm just asking that you have them talk to me before we go through this process of appointing.
So Diane, so what you're saying is when we receive the applications and we approve somebody, call you on the approval so you could run through it with.
Have them call me so I can explain the details.
Yeah, because
Like Mitchell originally was going to have a problem because on Thursdays he has something else at the same time that we have our meetings. He then freed up that time to be able to attend our meetings. But at that time, I thought I was going to have to ask 10 other members, can we meet at a different time to accommodate this one person? So they need to know when we meet, how often we meet, what their duties are expected of them. It's not just one meeting a month. When we have our bid cycle, there's more meetings to do.
Do we have something that says that? So when people can go to the website, if they want to apply, they already see that written out?
It's not detailed, but.
Can we do that? Just put in the posting, we could put, we meet on Thursdays. You meet how many times a month? And so at least
We have that.
the applicants to come in.
We have that. But you
It's
know,
on our
people don't
website?
read. People like to talk and get the facts. I mean, it's just a suggestion.
I'm saying with the posting now, because we should post, we're looking for applicants now. We should repost it. Let's make sure we include that in there.
Item number 24 is for the appointment of a member. Obviously, if you don't have somebody picked tomorrow, you have to remove that agenda item, but duty is for me to send it to Lisa so she can get it on the agenda as a reminder to the commissioners to appoint that position.
well, we have the former. Did we choose? I mean, there were still some that we didn't.
I don't have privy to that information. That's all within the commissioner's office.
Well, you're still gonna need time if we do make a choice to, interview them or let them know.
Sure. Do you want me to hold this till next week?
Well, at least we know, we know what we're gonna have to do, so we'll take this off for now. The idea that we know we have to make it a choice. And then call you, and then you could do your due diligence.
Or have them call me.
Okay, or have them call you.
Interested applicants should call her
Okay.
before they apply to us.
Okay.
And then we should make it public, the media, that we're accepting applicants now for a senior levy position. Volunteer position.
Lisa, do we have the old list?
Yes.
Because we have a folder also. I mean, we have a folder that we could, we could choose from
I
there.
don't think there was anyone left in that folder that
Was it?
was valuable, that we deemed worthy.
Okay,
I
well, we'll
can
look
send
at
another
that.
press release.
You want to do
We
it
can
that way?
That's what we should do it.
All right, let's do it that way. I am.
And at the end of the year, we'll have 3 more members whose terms expire, so we'll be going through this again. So
Again.
maybe if you could combine those,
Yeah, that'd be good.
so it is September already. Item number 25 is to concur with the Senior Service Advisory Council's recommendation for distribution of the senior service levy dollars and to authorize distribution to the agencies as listed for the term effective November 1, 2025 through October 31st, 2027. It's a 2-year term. The sealed proposal submitted May 12, 2025 for community senior centers. As listed below, the council is recommending to fund the full $625,000 as listed in the RFP. And the list below is provided. The senior center subcommittee is here. If you have any questions for them as to why they made the recommendations that they did. I submitted to you the bid results with this agenda item. So that you can see prior contracts with the senior centers, new suggested contracts, and the unit price per program.
I didn't have an opportunity to.
Well, yeah, my first question is any of the present centers being cut under this proposal?
No one is being cut. They were awarded as requested,
Okay.
except one senior center. We awarded what they had last, not the full amount that was requested.
Which one was that?
Gerard,
So how much did they request?
they had requested 90,000. The council determined to award $61,015.
So you're cutting them 29,000.
They have their own levy too, though, that has another income with the other ones.
The reasoning behind that,
I thought we said that the commissioner didn't want to cut them.
it's not a cut from last year's contract. Same amount
This
Right.
one,
as last
they
year,
requested 90, they're getting the same amount as last year.
as their last contract.
They did-
Because they have a senior center that shows that they're receiving $290,000 to operate a senior center. And the other senior centers are basically within the $75,000 range average to operate. So we felt that it was proper use of taxpayers' dollars.
Well, it's levy funds, correct? Yep.
625,000 we have available is what was recommended to be awarded. So if you are to change that, it will be on you as commissioners to either accept or change.
And then you're proposing for 3 new scope centers?
Are proposing that, yes. Actually, they're only awarding those 15,000 each to give them an opportunity to prove themselves. If they can continue operations after that 2-year period of only receiving 15,000, then they would consider them for the full funding.
What was the increase? Did they, Gerard multi-generational, the increase of the nearly 30,000? Did they give you a reason for the increase, what it was about, why they were requesting that amount? They just put a number out there?
That is their budget need.
So they would want more than any of the other centers, $8,000 more than even Warren wants. Plus, they have another revenue source. They're already bringing in 200 and some thousand. And Warren's operating on 82,000 a year. They would be 3 times that. That just doesn't make sense.
Correct.
Yeah, that 61,000 sounds way more than fair. Yeah,
Did the other centers increase and then you brought them back to the,
The other centers, as they requested, some of them asked for less. Which I appreciate. I'll say McDonald. They were new a few years ago and they have requested, I think it was like 50,000 the first year. We only awarded them 45,000. They didn't use all 45,000. So instead of asking for more, they asked for what they thought they could use. And I like that approach when somebody is, truthful, not asking for the whole pie because the pie's in front of you, you want the whole pie. Work within the budget that is awarded to you.
Often does this have to be approved?
Well, this one is, their contracts start November 1st.
I have no problem with the state. We have the board members here backing up their decision. And I think this decision is fair.
I understand it, Commissioner, but I think, with these questions that I may have, I think we should take some time to get the full answers. I mean,
They're gonna operate on what we gave them last year.
yeah, but you told me before you didn't want to open any new scope centers, and now they're proposing.
I didn't say I didn't want to open any new scope centers.
That's what now we're proposing to open 3 and then cut some people.
Actually, we put a Bristol rep on there to open. I nominated 2 open a scope center in Bristol, so that statement's totally incorrect.
Well,
I mean, we're opening 3 new ones. That's great. And if we open up more in the future, that's great. We're not cutting anybody. They're all operating on exactly what they had last year. No scope centers are cut.
Okay, I like to open up.
Then we have one that wants 30,000 more, and we're just saying no to that.
I'd like to know why. That's my question. Is why are they requesting $30,000 more?
I'll tell you why, because a couple of years ago, they requested less. And they were upset when we distributed the money because it was a matter of how they documented the number of people that were there. They documented better last year and they got to the 61,000. Now, I think they see that they could look at their programs differently now to request more, being that potentially it's out there. No one's from Georgia. They knew this is happening, and no one from Georgia is even here defending it, or they're not complaining about it. So
do they know that this is happening? I mean, that's my question. Do they know that?
We had our public meeting last Thursday, the council met, and it's publicly notified.
We did have Laura here last week, however, we didn't have a workshop, recall. We were just here for. She
Bill?
came in.
If I can ask Bill Danzo a question, is that legal to allow a bidder in a sealed bid proposal to discuss their bid before award?
Well, yeah, Bill Tanso, prosecutor's office, it's a little bit of a different situation than a traditional competitive bid. Because those are sealed, opened, read aloud, and awarded. Competitive sealed proposals do have some ability for negotiation. I can't really tell you for sure on this whole thing. Generally, we do recommend not communicating with bidders ahead of the award, other than as permitted in those statutes for sealed proposals. I guess that's the best answer I can give at this moment.
Do have a caveat in our RFP that allows the bidder to respond after the award is made.
Well, I don't even know why, there was nothing discussed. However, I believe she was here wondering if there was a meeting, that's all. There was no discussion, but I understand what you're saying. So we're gonna have to make some decisions here, commissioners. We have how many other centers that we're holding up? We have one center being Gerard Multi-Generational, which is requesting more than what the board wants to, delegate to them. So where do we go from here? Could we table this whole thing?
Why were they requesting?
But do we table the whole?
Well, I mean, it's not gonna harm anything if we.
did they give any answer with the committee?
Council.
I mean,
I
mean, it doesn't hurt any funding because it doesn't take effect, you said, until October, correct?
We have to work on the contracts.
But we
It
do have,
starts
we do have the chairwoman here, so.
I'm Sandy Scott, Chairperson of Seniors Center Advisory Council for the Commissioners. We've spent countless hours on this, commissioners, I can tell you. Gerard is fully funded by their own senior center tax levy to the amount of $290,000 a year. Nobody else has that in Trumbull County. They did ask for 30,000 more. We gave them exactly what they're getting from last year. They are fully funded by their own taxpayers. And as far as the 3 new centers, says Bristol or Brookfield or Champion isn't entitled to have a senior center. Let's give them a shot. Let's see what and they've been working on, these guys have been working on these centers for 2 years, trying to get it up and running for our seniors. So it's not fair for us to say no. So we're trying to give them a start, we're gonna give them as much help. as what we can.
Thank you.
Questions?
Well, you know, I mean, I understand commissioners what the chairwoman is saying, and if they are fully funded, and they are asking for an additional increase for what reason, I don't know, but
So we're.
I
getting
really don't
exactly
have-
What they got last year.
I really don't have issue moving
Right, yeah,
forward
no,
with
I
this,
totally agree.
especially hearing from the board and your decisions. And, you know, we could hold this thing up and bring up it, try to bring up issue, but,
As long as we're not cutting them, they're getting.
yeah, they're not
exactly
getting
what they
cut, they're
asked for
getting what
last
they're
year.
last year. And we have another, 3 centers that,
Yes, sir.
and they're getting 15.
They're getting 13,380 as a start, as a start, and wish them the best, and hopefully they can. Get
Absolutely. We want to see centers. We want to see more I mean, listen, we want the seniors to be.
And Gerard is still getting the second highest amount from us,
Right.
regardless of
Okay.
the other money they have coming in.
So when we fund these 3 new centers, when do you expect they could open?
That would be up to scope to give for that answer. That they're all totally under scope, so I have no idea.
But it would be relatively.
I would assume it would be relatively soon. Yes.
No, I agree. The more centers we can open, the better off.
I want to thank the board for what you do. We're not here to, there's some decisions sometimes you have to make and you want to know why, what's this $30,000 increase? So that, this is why you're here too. So thank you. Appreciate that. All right, commissioners, we're good with that. We're going to keep that on the agenda then.
Fine.
Diane?
Thank you so much. To continue, item number 26, concur with the Senior Services Advisory Council's recommendation for distribution of additional senior services levy dollars for homemaker / personal care / chore programs as listed for the term effective October 1st. This one will start here shortly. The homemaker personal care program to serve the current senior levy administrator wait list as directed by the senior levy administration. So we are wanting to make sure that these new dollars are going to reduce our wait list. With that, I am working closely with Buckeye Pace. I did meet with
I'm
them.
going to ask.
They currently have our wait list, so we're all working on this wait list together.
Good.
She is going to report to me weekly what she can serve, what they are able to serve, the ones that they aren't able to serve, reasons why. We're keeping notes on each of these cases. So it's been a good connection with Buckeye Pace. We're hoping to address that wait list. Now, this particular agenda item is only for an 8-month period because our next cycle for the full dollar amount, which this will be added to it, to award the newer contracts that will be for 2-year contracts. So we're expanding our programs in advance of getting those the replacement dollars in our funds in 2026. So we're spending down our carryover fund. to do this.
And I'm happy to hear that you're working with Buckeye Pace. We have a meeting with them and suggested they get in touch with you to see who can be serviced that can't be through, or what makes sense. And so thank you for, working with them.
One additional note on this, we have 2 new vendors that we're bringing in for the homemaker personal care. This is always we strive to get additional vendors because we don't feel a monopoly works within the system to be able to serve all. So we love having additional vendors in our program. They went through the bid process. They're in, they provide these services already within their own community. So it's not like they're brand new companies.
Question for that. I see we only have one person doing chores, so 55,000.
It's the only one that did.
And it says $52 a job. Does that mean if they mow a postage stamp size yard in Niles, they're getting $52? Or if they shovel a walkway, they're getting $52? We can't adjust that somehow to be more in line with hourly than.
We did that, and then it was,
It's because we ran out. They didn't get everything done. We ran out of money before in the past to do the chores. And $52 a job. I mean, I got a big yard and I don't pay my lawn guy $52 to mow my grass.
it worked out the same years ago when we decided to go on a per job basis versus the hourly basis. That's why we went to the per job basis. We only allow 4 jobs a month. per household, except in extreme cases of snow removal.
Guys, you any questions on that? Just
The
me.
reason why
So I
it's
don't-
more than, hiring a landscaper is because you've got to have trusted people in these, at these homes. They have to pass the background checks and the drug tests and all the requirements than what you get from the neighborhood boy who's gonna cut your lawn.
I mean, a chore could be something as simple as
Cleaning the
a
sink.
hinge on the door or something needs fixed, or a lock needs changed out, or a board needs replaced on a porch. One simple little thing, they're still getting $52. There's no
Can it be done?
alternative.
Can it be done any differently? Can't be done, well,
We always had not always, we used to do an hourly rate. We switched it per job.
so like Commissioner
And you
says,
switched it
regardless,
for because you thought,
So many years ago, I don't remember exactly, but when we reviewed it, on a per job basis, we felt we were getting a better bang for our buck than do the hourly.
Is there a way we can
'Cause they
adjust
never-
that at all? If it takes less than a half hour, it's $30. Anything more than that's
The
52.
hourly rate changed because now you've got travel time and they were charging for the travel time between jobs and. So it was the challenge. We felt that the per job rate was better. Cost wise.
I suppose one benefit of it is to have somebody available right there. I understand, Commissioner, what you're saying, but
That's only like
Just to get-
1,100
We had
drops
hoped
a
to get
year.
other bidders.
Builds it.
Hoping to get other bidders and we did not.
nobody wanted to bid on it.
I had one that was interested but didn't submit bid.
Well, this is the way that it's been done in the past, right? So, has this rate
For
gone up?
probably 15, 20 years now, we've done per job.
Has this rate gone up? Is it? What was it
No,
last
this
year?
is the same as what they have.
It's been the same? Well,
you've done it for the last
cost or
10,
more?
15 years that way.
Per job.
And we run out of money. Many of those years and
I'm sure if you do it already, you'll
Not
probably
at the
not money.
store, usually they leave money on the table. Because it's hard to, it's very busy in May and June when your grass is growing and then it dies off.
Yeah.
And then if we don't get snow, which last year we had big snows in November and then we didn't have snow after that. So then we try to use the chore dollars for more things like ramp installs, $52 per job.
We could try to micromanage it, but it's been done this way. I mean, hopefully we don't run out of money, but I would suggest that we just do what we've done. I mean, $52 an hour back 10 years ago is a
We
lot
go-
more than what $52 is now.
We get a hard winter, we're gonna run out of money.
Well,
Get a lot of snow.
I don't know what other way we can,
I agree.
I don't.
They've been doing it for years that way. Council approved it.
Board. Any suggestions?
Sam Scott, teacher advisor, one vendor, I know $50 an hour. It's the labor, it's their cost, it's vetting the employee, the drug cost, their insurance. Equipment fully liable at these senior homes, just can't send anybody. One vendor, I mean, you welcome more vendors.
But that's to be considered. By the
Yes.
time you get
Oh,
drug
yes.
testing, you do, travel time, you got.
The
You know.
equipment liability
Wait,
insurance.
did you meet with the girl? Did you meet with the United Way yet?
Maybe not.
When I met with United Way, we had a lunch.
I had a conversation with her.
And they talk about their volunteers being willing to mow grass, do things. Can we
Yes,
incorporate that
she
in?
needs to work up her volunteers. She only has like 1 or 2. And she's working on building that program so that she can get involved next year. She wants to do this next year. She was not interested in right now because, right now, you need equipment, you need people.
Okay, I mean, the board suggested, recommends it, that, it's been done in the past, we're gonna have to just, go with it and hope for the best. From here, maybe in the future, we get like something, but. Okay.
If I can jump down to number 28, because I submitted this one as well.
Yeah,
This one is to adopt the financial management policy and procedures amendment. Recommendation for the result of the Ohio Transportation ODOT 5310 Transportation Technical Advisory Review that we just had on August 22nd. They came in and reviewed all of our policies and procedures, and in our last policy that we had that was adopted in April 19th of 2023, we had transportation team. They wanted me to amend it to read transit administrator, senior levy administrator, and the superintendent of the Trumbull County Board of DD. So that's what this change is. We need to have that officially accepted. And then I have a form that you need to sign that we submit back to ODOT so that we'll be in compliance with that policy. Any questions?
No, I was there, they just requested positions instead of names.
Right. Well, we actually approved the team, but I know the positions on that team.
Other than that, they said you guys are doing a great job.
Okay, thank you, Diane. You had more than you had all
I
year.
try to cram it all in, so I only have to come once every.
You don't like us?
I have more important things to do than sit in meetings.
All right. Thank
And
you.
I'm not done yet.
Thank the board again. Mike Solomon.
Yeah.
27.
Okay.
See you.
So, thank you, Commissioner. Mike Selma, Trumbull County Transit Administrator, here to give you the operator financial report. Diane, this is Diane actually finding out. So I'm just doing the operating. The numbers are here. I'm not going to go read all the numbers, but one-way trips through July were 24,634. Last year were 22,987. We're up over 1,700 one-way trips this year. In saying that, projected trips over 42,230 compared to 40,172. So we're definitely increasing, moving along. And then Diane will the financial part. In saying that also, cost per trip right now is 33,062 cents. So we're basically holding pretty good, and again, Diane can go over that. So just a couple other points here. My city transportation out of Cleveland has requested a records request regarding our last RFP. So I'm putting together all this information to send it to them, just letting you know about it. I don't know exactly why they want it, but the very last item put in there is they want to be part of our bidding cycle also. So I'm assuming they want to see what it looks like and then be part of our bidding cycle for the next round. In regards to Garland, you all know Garland is closed. I was able to, we moved almost all the clients over without a problem. I'm still getting a few phone calls. You know, the stragglers are coming in to remove them over. However, and I'm not going to put John on the spot, but there's a group called Title 20, and I'm not sure what Title 20 is, but it's out of the Department of Job and Family Services. They cannot transport from Department of Job and Family Services. So they're going through me, and presently we have about 7 just clients, and I don't know if they'll go back. It's a question, John, if they will go back to you or not. I don't know yet. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So in regards to that, there are 7 clients here that we haven't reviewed transporting when we start transporting. So these numbers are definitely going to go up. Money is going to definitely go. Let me see. Okay, in regard to the 5310 grant, which you already know, we're going to receive $436,000 this year. We've already started with the next one. I've already done the letter of interest, and the grant applications will open as of October 1st, 2025 for the next cycle, which is 2027. So that's October. The applications will open up October 1st. 2025, and they'll be out for 6 weeks. So they're somewhere in the middle of November. So that's basically the operating side. So I don't know if you have any questions with this or.
You think the increase, trip increase is due to lawsuits? In general,
That's part of it, but we've had a steady increase even before that. And yeah, there have been a few people that have come over from WRTA and some of them were already over. So yeah, that's part of it, but we've had a rather steady increase almost every month. What I can tell you is I'm just getting more and more applications. I'm sending out a day, putting in 4 to 5. We have well over 3,600 applicants in our system. I mean, I think what is more people are knowing about this, and a lot of people said we didn't even know about it. I get 1 or 2 sometimes that new people are moving in that need transportation. Come into the community. So I got one yesterday that I just sent out another application. So it's a combination of things.
and you look like you're in a trance over there. With the stick there. You got something on your mind?
No, good to go. Okay. So that's mine, and then Diane has the financial part.
I won't be long. This spreadsheet, happy person here. I track the transportation. I track the transportation to make sure we're staying within budget. With the increase that Mike keeps talking about, I have to watch our local match to make sure that we can afford what is being asked of us in the demand. I will say that we have to keep a special watch on the disabled because he's near the local match promise of 200,000. The 750,000 local match for senior levy, we're within that budget still. Everything looks good there. The TCBDD boards input of 150,000 local match. They're within reason, so I don't expect them to need to increase their match. It's the disabled portion that might need the increase. So that's the spreadsheet I have. Our projection is to do about 1.4 million trips. $1.4 million worth of trips at about 42 to 44,000 is the projection for transportation. Any questions? Our unit rate is fantastic compared to prior to 2018. Since we've been doing this.
This is a lot to digest.
Just so you know, I'm tracking it, okay?
Okay.
That's the big thing.
Keep it up. Thank you. Mike, you done?
I'm done except for Mr. We were talking about child review. So there were 5 initial findings, and the one that's on here is already taken care of. That takes up 4, and another one I've already taken care of, 3, and I'm working on the other 3. So right now we're down to about 3 findings. We should get everything.
You'll have 2027 done before you retire, right? Is that a yes?
I don't know. I don't have whatever. It's the same.
Okay. But you'll have 2027 done by,
You're talking about the application?
yes. By this October, that's being you said, or?
The applications are coming out October 1st.
Okay.
They're due back to ODOT middle of December. I don't have the exact date. It's usually the middle of December.
Okay.
They're out for 6 weeks.
Gotcha.
If I can make one last point, Diane, you're kind of senior levy administrator. Our grant usually pays for half of the year. The local match pays for the rest of the year. So you know the importance of the local match.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Thank you, Diane. We're gonna move on to Mr. Gargano.
Yes, John Gargano, County Job and Family Services and Child Support. And this is requesting the approval of employment of Mr. Ricky Bowman as the location investigator for Trumbull County Child Support Agency. This is a union position. The individual that was in that position bid on a promotion. And so we had to go out to the streets and they interviewed, I think, 3 or 4 individuals, and this was the individual that was selected. It's a position that is somewhat important because this individual has to locate those individuals and serve contempt motions for failure to pay child support. Or if there's a child support action at the court, they have to serve them so these individuals get the proper service for whatever their issue is.
So he goes to the houses, neighborhoods.
He does, he or she does.
We send a guy to knock on someone's door to tell them they're behind.
Absolutely.
We're paying them $16 an hour to do it. They're willing.
Well, that's the starting rate, you know, that's by union negotiations. And then, of course, they're after probation, they can get their somewhat increase, and then their yearly is based upon the union contract.
Alex, you have anything to say?
Is this funded from the state?
No, this is part of it, and part of it, the monies that the commissioners give us also.
So this is a completely new position?
No, it's a position. There was an individual in that
So we're
position.
just replacing that.
Yeah,
There was a
individual
gentleman,
in there
just saying,
took a
yeah.
promotion to another position, so we had to,
Okay.
we put it out internally, no one bid on it, obviously, and so we had to go out and interview for that position.
So you just fill it in the position?
Yes,
I do agree with Commissioner Muller, have that type of responsibility to knock on doors at that kind of a rate, it kind of.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, or fortunately, this is a union position
Yeah.
that's
I
negotiated with
understand.
the increase in raises and stuff like that.
If it makes you feel any better, commissioners, Alex Johnson Bush, Human Resources Director, all I can say is that the comparable statuses of other entities that have this job were provided during contract negotiations. All of that was looked at, was provided. We are well in line, and I will say for the record, I believe we were actually above what other counties, surrounding counties,
Really?
minimally. And you also have to remember that they were entering, other counties at that time were entering into contracts, so we're very even, is all.
And we've also in the past used the sheriff's department that's seeing the costly.
And they don't
because
have stuff, so.
they don't have the staff, but they'll go back 2 or 3 times or, to try to serve somebody. And whatever that sheriff's hourly rate is and the cost of vehicle expenses and stuff like that, it's very costly. I had got one bill, they went back 3 times and it was like $180 that I had to pay for it.
And the county does utilize a county vehicle for this position. So a county
Yeah.
vehicle is provided for this employee. So they are not expending their own, obviously, we're not paying mileage, we're using a county vehicle that is provided to them, so. This is a very long withstanding position. It is typical in every county, across all counties. Yeah, truly. And to John's point, it's a local and federal match, I believe. So
Yes.
64-36, I can't remember how it goes, but CSE is a very dedicated funding stream and it's a whole other fund of all of the funds, right? So
It's not a new position, it's a current position.
Thank you, John. We had some discussion about fuel, this agenda item 30. This has been approved by the prosecutor's office.
Commissioner, if you want,
You want to?
I can help out a little bit with this one. Bill Danzo, prosecutor's office. This is, I think, the first time we've gone through a full fuel bid since you guys have been commissioners. So just a very brief rundown. A number of years ago, we had a person at the county who was very well versed in fuel oil, gasoline, diesel. And we developed this request for bids to try to save a little bit of money rather than just having county vehicles show up at the gas pump and pay whatever the market rate is. We've been doing this probably about 12 years or so now. But what you'll see in here, we only had one bid this time live, who has been a previous supplier of the county, has treated us very well as a supplier. What you'll see is for both diesel and gasoline, some different markets. We have this sort of complex request for bids that it breaks it down into markets, because depending on weather, time of year, different things, you know, the Gulf market may be more expensive than the New York Harbor market, you know, different things. There's some moving parts in there. We also have it broken down into how many gallons per delivery. There's the tank wagon versus the other delivery. And essentially, if you break the gasoline and diesel down into smaller portions, you sometimes have to pay an additional cost for the company to split that load. This takes all of that into account the best we can. And we try to put it together in such a way where we're saving some money, you know, at least over and above what we can get at any of the local refueling stations. So that's the nuts and bolts of it. This is, again, gonna be a 2-year period. We do have some extensions built in, but the way this is structured is essentially these bids are submitted with the price over the cost. So if the cost of gas and diesel go down, we pay a lower rate. We're not stuck to a specific, you know, $3.74 per gallon. This is based upon from the cost and then moving up based on what the cost of delivery are and the margin that they bid on. So any questions, you know, I can do my best. I am not the person who initially was the expert on gas and oil. I've learned a little bit about it over the years, but we maintain that same format, and we've been successful with it in the past, and we're going to continue on with it if the board approves.
This was, nobody else you had mentioned.
This was the only bid submitted this time. We had some questions come in from other vendors. We have had other vendors in the past, but I think the last 2 cycles, Leiden has been the only bidder on this. And they're a somewhat local company, so it may make sense for transportation even that they would be a bidder on it.
I have no issue with it. Good. Okay, thank you, Phil, for explaining that. Okay, so then we're going to enter into executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 12122G3. And then we will reconvene from executive session under the Ohio Revised Code 12122G3. Okay, so Madam Auditor, you're here.
Martha Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor. Gentlemen, I am here this morning to talk to you about a cybersecurity program that House Bill 96 authorized and requires political subdivisions to set and adopt standards regarding what I've given you, by the way, is the bulletin from the auditor's state. Adopt standards safeguarding against cybersecurity threats and ransomware attacks. The House Bill 96 is effective September 30th, 2025. Under this law, each political subdivision's legislative authority shall adopt a cybersecurity program that safeguards the entity's data, information technology, and information technology resources to ensure availability, confidentiality, and integrity. The program consists of generally accepted best practices for cybersecurity, and it may include and gives a whole list, but I'm going to address just a couple of these today. You can read this at your leisure. But one of the big requirements is to establish cybersecurity training requirements for all employees. In just a minute, I will have Chief Deputy Auditor Tim Hannaford. He's also our IT director. Explain that a little bit. Just for your information, both Chief Deputy Auditor Hannaford and I have attended webinars. He's attended 2. I've attended 1 sponsored by the Auditor of State so that we would become familiar with what needs to be done. Our implementation due date for the county is January 1st, 2026, which is coming rapidly. I'm going to have Mr. Hannaford also explain in just a minute about the ransomware part of this, which is a big aspect of House Bill 96. One of the things I want to point out is that there is a public records exemption, and Mr. Danzo can give you more details on that. But it's important to understand that this program is not something that is a public record. When you adopt this program, it is not for public consumption. And I think the reason should be obvious, but it is so that we are further protected. This is our protection for this county. So it's important for you to understand that. I'm going to have Chief Deputy Hannaford come on up and explain a little bit more about some of the details of this. But just so you understand what we're asking of you, and we would like to put on the agenda for next week, is a resolution authorizing the auditor's office, since we are in charge of IT, and the prosecutor's office to work together to come up with this program, because we write our own. It's not out of the box from the state. We're given guidelines for it, and they'll have to follow those guidelines. But to come up with the program so that you can approve that program in a timely fashion so that we will be compliant.
Thank you. Just real quick and just to summarize, pretty much we're looking at number one, an annual training program. We are going to be partnering with the Ohio Cyber Range Institute. They are offering they're from the University of Cincinnati. They are offering training for all entities in Ohio to take advantage of. This training is going to be for every end user. It's probably somebody, if somebody touches a computer, they're going to have to end up taking this training. It's not only a benefit for the county, it's also the benefit for cyber training in everybody's personal lives as well. So it's not something just, oh, I got my job, I have to do this. No. Take it home, use it, and you're gaining a vast wealth of knowledge to protect yourselves in the future. So also too, we have we have to develop a cyber incident response plan. So part of our documentation, part of our policies is going to have to be a well-established plan. So, and then number three is practice to assess and remediate all cyber risks. So we have to be able to identify risks and be able to know within policy how to remediate those risks. Okay. Last but not least, it's reporting cyber incidents to the state of Ohio. If we have any incident, we have to report it out now. Auditor Yoder brought up ransomware. That's the big one that they were hammering home with us. If we, for some reason, were to get hit with ransomware, we're gonna, and we definitely have to report that. We have to have policies in place. We have to have plans in place to be able to protect ourselves. Okay, and to know exactly what we're gonna need to be doing. I know that Mr. Danzo can add to some of the concerns over, because this is part of security, as to what we're allowed to announce public. Pretty much it's going to be just broad brush strokes to the public for the commissioners within the executive session. It could be something where we do get into details of what we're going to be doing. So is there any questions that we would have? Probably the first question is going to be, okay, does this cost us anything? There could potentially be costs down the road. Okay, right now, I mentioned that the Ohio Cyber Range Institute, they're offering this training, but there could be costs that we're going to have start incurring down the road.
The training is gratis.
The training is gratis.
So that the cost to the county for that training is more of an indirect cost as far as the time that it takes for each employee to do the training, and the time that it will take for department heads and for public officials to make sure that we have compliance. So that part, of course, there's costs there, but the cost of the training itself is gratis. One more thing I wanted to mention about ransomware is that only under very limited circumstances are entities allowed to pay a ransom. And there's specific procedures that have to go and have to take effect. Basically, the only way that you can pay a ransom is if your backups are not available for some reason. They've been corrupted, if they've been destroyed in some way. and it's very, very tight on how you're, when you're allowed. So the big part of this program is to prevent that from happening and to make sure that we have our secure backups.
Yeah, and that's huge, and that's why they want policies in place, because we have to guarantee that our backups are protected, that there's an air gap between our live data and our backup. Okay, the one thing I will ask the commissioners is, we know we have a company that's doing grant writing. It's gonna be imperative that we start engaging with them for cyber for our computer, for our networks. We know there are possibilities of grant funds out there. We would like to have that contact if we can, because it's in the future, the costs are only going up more and more. And with this, there's gonna be more and more requirements.
So, Mr. Hand,
Yes,
all employees are going to
yes,
have to participate in this. cybersecurity training.
yes, yes.
I understand that. Now, what about the townships? Are they on their own or would they fall under our?
They do not fall under us.
They do not fall.
Their legislative authorities have to adopt their own cybersecurity.
So is each township will have to set up their own?
Yes,
Yes.
Mr. Randall, our grant writers are right behind me. They've agreed.
Yeah.
After the meeting, they can meet with you and set up an appointment.
thank you. Mr. Danzo, did you have anything to add?
I think you covered it very well.
All right, so with that, we will put that on the agenda, authorizing us to come up with my office and the prosecutor's office to come up with that program.
Absolutely.
Thank you. One other,
Well, do we need to put on the agenda to authorize you to come up with a program? Or we just agree for you to do it and then we authorize your program after you do it?
you'll have to approve it after we do it.
Right.
So that what you're authorizing us to do, because we can't do it without your authorization, because you are the ultimate authority on this, the legislative authority has to pass the program. We're just making sure that have the authorization to move forward to start creating this. So we do need a resolution for that. And that was also in the webinar, I believe they said that we needed to do that. Did you have something?
No, I was just gonna say, I think that if we just have a very basic resolution to.
Right, and that's.
It doesn't have to be anything complicated at this
Right.
point. The more complicated discussions and decisions are going to be once that draft policy is prepared.
Right. And we have a draft of that resolution that I sent to you, so, and that kept it very simple and very basic as well.
We can put that on for tomorrow. It's a simple resolution.
That's fine, I can, that's up to your
Well, I
clerk.
mean, if you already have a copy.
I have a draft that Mr. Danzo has not yet approved yet, but.
It'll vary in my email.
Okay.
If it's
I'm
possible,
I'm fine with whatever you wish me to do, I will do.
if it's possible, you do that.
We can,
Sure.
we'll be by the end of the day,
No
I'll
problem, yeah.
hammer it out.
Thanks, Lisa.
There's one other thing that unrelated to the cybersecurity that I wanted to mention and give a little gentle reminder to the board. 3 weeks from today, you have a meeting set to address the budgetary issues for the remainder of the year. I would appreciate, and I think that it would be helpful to each public official and each department head to have an email go out very soon outlining what you wish from us for that meeting and when you want. That's all thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
Where we have the dog kennel decision, or not decision, but conversation. Young man, is that for what reason? Oh,
Just give a brief intro right now.
I'm sorry?
I can give a brief intro right now. I don't know if it's the right time, place.
Well, I don't know if you want to, this is gonna probably be a very lengthy discussion.
Okay. I'll just go really briefly.
What's your name?
My name is Dave Bundren. I work for a nonprofit called the Ohio Land Energy Coalition. We work to build support for renewable energy across the state of Ohio. But the purpose of this would be to ask a couple of questions. We're doing an 88 county tour of Ohio. I believe Trumbull County's done 58 since January. You've got a standardized list of 8 questions. We ask every commissioner in the state of Ohio. I can email them.
Yeah, email them.
That works fine.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Okay. Beth, did you have anything?
Think so? Today, unless you want some happy news, we've got a travel writer, a national travel writer coming in this evening. We're with him all day tomorrow, and then he leaves on Thursday. His name's Bill Clubland. He's with Bill on the Road. So we're excited to welcome him. We're working on the economic development tour, which is actually now rephrasing it to road show. That's coming up September 18th. And people can either email me, or if you receive the email and you can register, please register. And we're working on 2026 budgets, marketing plans, and we're going to be announcing our annual meeting for Tuesday, September 8th. It's going to start at 11:30, and there may be a little bit of a challenge with your all schedule, but we would love to have commissioners involved. We are inviting, and we've invited somebody from Destination Cleveland that does what we do, but in Cleveland, and they're going to talk not just about what they do from a visitor industry perspective, but also their work with the Talent Alliance in Cleveland, how they're working with workforce development, and they're leading the way on some things that are going on in Cleveland. So it'll be a great presentation.
Good. Thank you. While we're on the Beth and two, we have morning Trumbull.
Yeah,
Coming
Good
up.
Morning Trumbull is next Thursday.
Thursday,
And Nick just left, but I've got to reach out to him, and we're gonna assist with.
I'll get with you on that.
Yeah, the PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
We'll be doing images
Right.
behind you, so as you're presenting all the great news there is here in Trumbull County, you'll have something in the background
Right.
that'll.
Thursday's the economic development tour, Wednesday.
Wednesday, sorry, so Wednesday morning is Good Morning Trumbull.
At Avalon.
Right, and if people want to attend that, they can go to the Chamber's website and register for that.
Okay. Thank you, Beth.
Some ways in the handbook.
Is that going hand in hand with your tourism?
Sorry, can you please come up here?
Does this go hand in hand with your tourism and bringing tourists into the area?
Well, you know what we focus on is always enhancing the image of Trumbull County, and it's just as important for our local residents to be excited about all the great things we have to see and do. Because when somebody comes in and they come to our front desk, or they come to one of our, which has been happening sadly lately, but they'll come to one of our new executives that are coming into the area, and they're like, hey, I'm from this part of the United States. And a lot of our residents right now are like, God, why would you come here? And so we need to really continue to encourage our own residents as well as our visitors coming in. Once those visitors come in, we want our people to be excited about all the cool things there are to see and do. So this is part and parcel of that focus on continuing to enhance the positive image of Trumbull County.
So is your focus going, my part, I'm on Fakey Bay, on Mosquito Lake. I'm very discouraged right now with the way the conditions are in that.
Okay, and you're with Picky Bay?
Fakey Bay.
Picky Bay, yes. I know you spoke to or sent an email to Commissioner Malloy, who forwarded that information to me, and I actually reached out to Tim Huff. He's with the Army Corps of Engineers, and he's the person in that Army Corps of Engineers, or the people that are responsible for the American Lotus, which is what is in your bay. When I contacted him, he told me that he had cleared out the bay so that people can come in and out, but that they didn't have the capacity, they didn't have the equipment to do your bay plus each of the bays around Mosquito Lake. However, I would continue to reach out to them directly because they're the ones that are responsible for the mitigation of American Lotus at Mosquito Lake. And Commissioner Malloy has sent me those pictures.
Well, this was yesterday. This is Rascal.
Her bay, the problem we have is she's one of the only, at the North End Lake, she is the only public ramp that people can utilize to put a boat in. And as of right
This
now,
is mud.
it's so silted over with that ramp over years. There's been no dredging in that area. Literally, she has regular grass growing outside of her dock where used to be water, used to be waist deep at least there, where boats can get in and out. And the problem we're gonna have is there are more than 100 duck lines on the water. We're getting in that season where the only place they can really put in, because you can't get underneath the causeway, is right at Pikey Bay, or right at the Causeway Shop, which is no longer maintained by the bait shop there, or up to Pikey Bay. Now, Pikey Bay is gonna be off limits. People aren't gonna be able to put a boat in at all because it's so overgrown, so matted up. It's basically, she has a campgrounds there, a bait shop, a business that can't put boats in the water. And that's what she does for a living.
So I'll address that in a couple of different ways. First of all, if we're talking about water levels, again, that's an Army Corps of Engineers responsibility of the height or.
Well, it isn't a water level, because the water level is at regular pool.
Okay, hold on just a second.
It's silted up.
So we've got water levels as an issue. Yes, we have silt issues. This is what we have been working on at Trumbull Tourism that we just passed over to KO Consulting. This is the Section 22 program. And before we can do anything with dredging or silt issues, we have to do these baseline studies. The baseline studies include a sedimentation study throughout the lake. Army Corps does those, but they only do it around the dam that is serving the city of Warren's water supply. But other than that, I don't know. And I think you probably have better information. The last time the lake was even dredged, that lake has historically been a shallow lake and it's not been dredged in many years. We can't get any of that stuff done as a community until we get these sedimentation studies and the other studies that are responsible for Mosquito Lake. That includes invasive species inventory, it includes vegetation inventory, wildlife inventory. That not only helps to move this process forward, it will help as you are focusing on doing infrastructure feasibility studies along the east and the west side of Mosquito Lake. That and the end result of these studies is not going to say you have to do these, but you need some baseline studies to begin with, and that's what Section 22 is all about.
My big concern with this, besides her business, is we've got a safety issue. We've had many instances that I remember just in my lifetime up here of capsized boats in the winter. And there's literally nowhere for even a safety equipment to put a boat in to rescue somebody. Nowhere. And the north end of the lake, I mean, it's not feasible right now that we have, even the North Haven Lake is bigger than most lakes in the state of Ohio. And we have no access. The only access we have is basically shut off now by Mother Nature, with nobody doing anything to help clear a path there. And should we get in a situation again where someone falls through the ice or has a October, November duck boat flip over, there's no help coming. There's nobody getting at Pikey Bay to help them.
And I would just say, you understand our legal authority doesn't have anything to do with Mosquito Lake.
No, but
that's why I'm going to encourage Danny, if you would please with her, speak to the Army Corps of Engineers as well as ODNR, just so that you can have those conversations. Because I don't have an authority to make those changes. We stepped in when other areas weren't able to take on this Section 22. We're grateful that KO Consulting is going to go ahead and move forward, and we did have that pass-off meeting. But if we don't have that initial information, I don't think that Army Corps is just going to go in and start clearing out silt without having some sort of support or background. And if you,
I guess what I'm just asking is, we need to collectively, and I will reach out again to Dave Joyce, we'll reach out to the Corps, but we have the structure already set up for all these economic things we've been doing to make this a priority issue, not just for her one business, but there's a whole campgrounds there, people that we can lose economic stability of that. And like I said, the safety aspect of it and the access for thousands of duck hunters that you would use that place during the winter, that's gonna be shut off. And that's a recreational opportunity, a major economic recreational opportunity that's lost if those duck boats can't get in the water this year.
Well, and there was a fire over on the island.
Ma'am, excuse me.
They had to use my
Ma'am,
dog.
Could you
They would
please,
not be able to use it right now if they had to get out.
could you please give your name though? We need your name for the record.
Oh, Barbara Dyke.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. All right.
So Bar, I guess what we're saying is we can help facilitate with those talks with the other entities, but like Beth said, there isn't one magic pill with this thing. Because it all does come down to the Corps of Engineers allowing anything, even if you wanted to bring someone in and just dredge out around your ramp, would still require the permits necessary to do that. And we can hopefully speed that up in some way, shape, or form, or work with them, but it is an issue I'm glad you addressed, and it's something that's been brewing for a long time. We've heard as the water goes down, you've been shut down sooner and sooner and sooner every year. Now we're still at summer pool and you can't even use it. So that's becoming basically a devastating factor for you.
Because there was a day when you could look out that bay and there's people waiting. There's people out, little, kids out in their boats fishing for bluegill. You don't have that. Because that bay is just getting so choked on.
And we will let you know when we have the next meetings where the minds get together. And I'll invite you to address the issue in front of the whole group when that time comes.
I just don't understand what the justification is for like almost doubling my lease payment this time to be, if they're not gonna do anything on their.
And that's an issue, I guess,
And I
again,
think-
we gotta address with the Corps of Engineers, but.
And from my understanding, under that conversation, you would need to speak directly to the Pittsburgh district, the Army Corps of Engineers Pittsburgh district. So the local resource officer doesn't have any authority and didn't really know any of the details of your lease. But he said that would be falling under the Pittsburgh district.
Sounds like he's passing up.
I would say that he's saying that he doesn't have any authority and doesn't have anything to do with the leases.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna move on with discussion of dog kennel, Trumbull County. Advisory.
Can I get some signatures from you? I just need one signature from each of us and I can go and I do this.
I'm sure you don't want to sit here. Yeah, these ones. Just probably because we do this. Here you have Mark, there you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's nice.
Okay. Commissioners, we were in discussion concerning formation of the panel, or if you will, the committee, advisory committee to the commissioner. We have in discussion with the prosecutor. We've been in discussion with one another. There's been some positives, some minuses. We're gonna have to get a direction where to go here. I know for sure that we are all in agreement that Michelle is going to be on the board, of course. So what we're gonna need to know is where to move from here, who we're gonna delegate to be on the board, on the panel. It was suggested that Jason Cook be on the panel. Jason Cook is well-known with Healthy Hearts and Paws. I personally don't have any issue with Jason Cook being.
Commissioner, we need to establish first, what does this panel do? I think this panel is just strictly to raise money from the private sector to help us fund the dog pound. We already know where it's going. We already know what it's gonna look like. We already know how it's gonna be staffed.
I don't know that I agree with that, Commissioner. I think this should be an advisory, not only.
To advise on what part of it. We've got two years worth of work on this.
Well, because I
We're gonna
got
go backwards.
Well, no, because that. Go ahead, Michelle.
Michelle Goss, Trumbull County Dog Board. I I don't think any of us want to move backwards. I mean, we want to move forward. I probably need the most sitting at the table. I definitely want to move forward with this project. I think location design and things like that, is another subject that we all get together with when we form this committee. I'd like to really get this committee formed and talk about that stuff. Make sure we are, as the dog board and the board, making the best decision on location, our design, and all that before we move forward. I mean, I'm not saying we go backwards. I love the building that we designed. I want to move forward, but I just want to make sure that it's the best move for myself and the board.
But
Didn't we do that for the last 2 years? Where were you the last 2 years?
Yeah, but
Why not?
Commissioner, we didn't have the committee. I agree with Michelle. Listen, there's
We
been,
didn't just, yeah, I mean, I guess new things have come to light and since you are forming this committee, there have been some things, as I said, that have came to light. And it would be nice to talk about them, like location design, things like that, just to go over, just to make sure we are, making the right decision for you as the board too. But I think our main focus today should be, I hope everybody brought to the table some guidelines like we talked about last week. What is our goal? What is our purpose here? And just like you asked, what is the role of the committee members? Is it an advisory board? Is it a fundraising board? Is it combined? I think I heard a couple of commissioners maybe say that they would like it to be a combined, the advisory and the fundraising. Is that possible? I mean, I'm not sure. I also asked our prosecutor, the question is, are 501c3s able to be on our committee? So I think maybe the prosecutor can touch base a little bit on that.
Well, you can't answer that until he knows what the committee is all about.
I agree.
Well, let's hear from Mr. Danzo. I mean, I asked you, I don't know what all you want to say about functions of the committee.
Sure. I guess.
But before you answer that, I kind of agree with Michelle on her aspect of it all. But
Yeah, Bill Danzo, prosecutor's office. I think, and Alex brought this up at the last meeting, I think it is true. I think the first step is, what is the scope of this committee? And that's something that the commissioners need to settle on, because, is it that we're gonna be using the design plan at the AWL location that has been done? Is it something where you want the committee to consider maybe a more modest proposal? There's a lot of room there, where you guys are gonna wanna land. Is it? Again, I think that's a very basic first step, and it's really totally up to the Board of Commissioners. Now, I will say, as far as 501c3s, Michelle, I'm glad you brought that up. Who can be members of an advisory committee? It's really at the discretion of the board. The Ohio Ethics Commission has made pretty clear in some of their more recent opinions that boards that serve a purely advisory function aren't subject to the ethics laws necessarily. Now, that sounds like maybe there should be no oversight at all. I don't agree with that. I think that it's a situation where the board could certainly still have some ground rules, maybe have, like was suggested last week, have an application procedure, have people at least disclose where their potential conflicts may be. Have a process where maybe like the senior levy council, where people are asked to abstain from things that are going to affect their particular 501c3. So in other words, even though it may not be a criminal violation of the ethics law for a purely advisory committee to form with conflicts, it is good to know about. It's good to maybe have some process in place to mitigate the effect of that conflict. I think the other thing as we go along, I don't disagree with the board if your decision is to maybe set a small committee, maybe set 4 members right off the bat. What I would suggest, it came up last week that maybe then that committee could simply add on to the membership. I don't think that's a great practice for a number of reasons. First of all, is one of them that we just talked about. The board may want to have a disclosure of potential conflicts even from its advisory board. There may be people that the board of commissioners just doesn't think are suited for whatever reason. Maybe a conflict would be too deep. Maybe there's another reason. I think that the board should vet that out. I also think that it is still good practice to have people that are going to be on this committee sign off on waivers, because I think that it would be good for them to spend some time with Michelle or at the dog pound to kind of, if the scope, even if it is purely fundraising, if that's what the board decides, I think that that's a hand in hand thing, maybe that they should at least visit and see what's going on. I also think that depending on what we do here, this may implicate some workers' comp things, that these people may be volunteers that we need to submit paperwork on, at least for the basic paperwork for county volunteers. So those are, I know, just some broad categories, but I think, again, number one is what's the scope of the committee from the commissioner, the direction there. What rules do you guys want in place for these people? And then how are you going to, select membership? And again, you could start with a small committee, you could add people onto the committee as it goes. This isn't statutory. This is an advisory committee. The board is plainly allowed to have advisory committees, but there are essentially no pre-built statutory rules for it. So it's a lot of leeway that you guys have. And you could always start, it's probably easier to start small and expand rather than vice versa, but it's up to you guys how you want to proceed on that. I just think there's probably a little bit of real decision making here left before you guys really kick this off, in my mind.
And you and I had some discussion, we were talking about a conflict of interest in 501c3s and the disclaimer and, those types of things, especially when, we have individuals that if they were on the board that could have a potential conflict when we're talking fundraising, not necessarily advising, but, so I think that's a great idea to organize it that way. The other thing that came to my mind when you were speaking about is would it be a conflict to be advisory / fundraising on a county level concerning the 501c3 that, Ms. Goss has, concerning where Jason's at? Is there a conflict of having this being a fundraising effort as well as an advisory? This is what's complicating everything.
And I will say this, Bill Danso, prosecutor's office again, I will say this on the fundraising angle. The county can clearly, under the law, accept donations and things like that. We've never really got into a situation here where the county has gotten very deep into its own solicitation for fundraising. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that maybe that we can talk about, but that's where I do think there's a delineation between advising on the location, the building, the process versus the fundraising. Fundraising traditionally has been sort of an outside effort. What's Voices of the Pound has been an asset for that. Other entities too. I'm not just singling them out as just the one that I guess most familiar with from the county's pound perspective. But a lot of generous organizations, a lot of generous people out there, but we haven't traditionally set that up as a county. Now, I'm not saying that's where we have to do some research and really find out, legally speaking, what can the county spend its resources doing as far as fundraising, things like that. And I'm happy to keep working with the board on different proposals and see what can be done legally. But again, perhaps if it is a fundraising only effort, perhaps that is something that may be better left to some of the outside charitable organizations to set up rather than the board itself, because really then, is that really an advisory board, or is that just, something that you guys are setting up to try to help with fundraising? Those are sort of different things.
Let's see, Commissioner, this is why I say, and you had mentioned about fundraising, and again, no disrespect to what you want to do, and you and I both have been on the same page about the dog pound and wanting to move this thing forward. I really like, and I believe we all believe that what Michelle was saying about putting this panel together and then move forward from there, because there has been some movement and some additional offers, so to speak, which I won't get into, about placement or maybe maybe something different than AWL, not to discredit that or to rule that out, but I think that we really need to set this panel up, get them organized, or at least the commissioners agree on something, and then move from there in an organized manner. In other words, not push this thing and rush. We've been talking about this for years. But if we could get this together, work with the prosecutor's office, work with the entities that we have to work with, and possibly, maybe it makes sense for the pound to be somewhere where different than what maybe we thought. I don't know. But that's what the advisory panel would advise on, and Michelle being probably one of the best resources for it, because she deals with it on a daily basis. So we know Michelle's going to be on it, correct? Now we have to move forward with who are we going to consider in addition to Michelle on the board. I've asked Michelle if she had any choices, and then we could do the application process as well. But like, I think I would confer with our prosecutor, even if we just started with like 3, a smaller group, and then amplify that from there. We don't need this big blown out board right now. We just need some direction.
Honestly, I don't think we need anything for that. We're 3 commissioners getting paid $100,000 a year. And we've already got a plan here. I did.
You
for
brought it up.
fundraising.
I mean,
To do a public-private
Yeah,
entity to get us to lay a match under our asses,
but we-
to move forward.
but the
Right now,
process,
we talk. The coroner, 911 dog pound. Nothing's been done since we've been here.
but there
Nothing.
seems to be a
2
gray
years
area.
of things, it's shut down, nothing. I
There-
hear it from the public all the time.
But-
We gotta do something.
There seems to be a gray area though with the fundraising effort of it. I'm not saying that it isn't.
I had a
And
meeting
I-
Friday. I had a meeting Friday, 7/17.
You said that.
They want to do a dog pound card for us.
Right.
We get us every time I swipe that card, money gets donated to us. They get rounded
I
up,
like that.
donation to us.
Yeah.
On top of that, you can use all 717 branches for anyone in the public that wants to donate.
I like
They'll
that.
do the campaign, they'll do the mascot, their dollar dog thing. The prosecutor has the proposal ready. They already wrote it up and said, here's a proposal, what we can do for you to help you build a dog pound. They said, if you want to finance a dog pound, look at the bonds out there. We'll beat any price out there on a bond if you want to do that. And then we'll pay ourselves back through the donations that come in
Right.
along with your payment plan. We got people coming to us for this stuff. Then I started talking to donors. And no offense, the second person I talked to said, oh, we already give to Jason. That's where I said, oh shit, there's a conflict here.
Well-
If we have the voices of Jason here
Well-
that if he's asking for money from someone and he's already got his big gig that's expanding and 100 dogs out there, I don't want him to be in a position either where is he gonna turn down a donation if someone wants to give him money and voluntarily split it with us to go build a dog pound? That's not even
that-
human to even ask him to do that.
This is why we were discussing this as far as, a disclaimer, a conflict of interest agreement, some sort of I don't know how that looks. That it would be, I think, up to the prosecutor to be able to formulate that type of a, document to be
We're
signed.
not reinventing the wheel. Counties all over the place have capital matches, public-private entities.
I know.
Farm buildings, fairgrounds, dog pounds. This isn't anything new. It's
No.
out there.
I agree.
Well,
I agree.
you know what? I've sat here and I listened to it all. First of all, I'm gonna take the exception to your rule. You did have the funds to take care of all 3 things, the dog pound, 911, and the corner with ARP money, and you chose not to do that. So don't put that on Rick and myself right now.
No, that's not a
Okay,
true statement.
That is the truth.
No, we met with lawyers on that. You don't know
You
what you're
have
talking
the
about.
money and you could have done that, okay?
We
So-
could not have. We had to have A before B before C.
Mr.
With
Gaines,
911, we
what
needed to
about
have a
revenue
review.
replacement funds? You passed a resolution.
Revenue replacement funds were gone before I got here,
No, they
Commissioner.
weren't.
Yes, they were.
Well,
10 million, there was no revenue replacement when I took over
Well,
as
that's,
commissioner.
you had the money, you had over 30 million when you took office.
When I took office, I had less than 16 million.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
Well, you still had 16 and all you need is 12.
And I want to take care of the townships because
Anyway,
nobody else wanted to.
All right, let's get out.
Commissioner, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, let's.
We need to.
We need
strike
5 to
straight
get
on the
all
dog.
3 of these things done.
So can I,
800,000 for the corner,
hold on.
1 million for 911 and 4 million for this.
I had before, okay? All right, I think the advisory committee, okay, should do a lot of things, okay? Let's set the fundraising aside. I agree with Michelle. I think we have to make sure that the plan is right, the location is right, and we move forward together with that, okay? And fundraiser, yes, we're all gonna need money to finance the dog pound. But first of all, we gotta make sure where we want to put it and the design is built for the dogs, okay, all right. So let's move forward with that. I'm willing to appoint 3 people. My opinion is those 3 people on the committee, on the panel right now, should be Michelle, Jason, and Robert Sager, okay? Let's start with those 3 people.
Who's Robert Sager? I never even heard that name
He's
before.
from the pound. He's from the Voices of the Pound. Okay, these people have been involved with animals for many.
But we had a lady
years,
this week
okay?
reach out who was an
Well,
humane officer with
okay.
animal welfare.
Well,
We had a CPA in Howland that reached out.
Can I
And
talk?
I'm just saying, you're picking people that have nothing to do with,
I'm picking 3 people, okay?
you're picking 3 people.
And my 3, you want to pick them. Those are my 3 choices because these people have involvement with the animals right now. And let's start with a suggestion. We can always add later on. I don't want to name 15 people to this panel right now. I think they are advisory. I spent an hour and a half last week over at Healthy Paws and that.
Okay, you should have spent an hour and a half at the dog pound. You haven't been there yet. You should have spent an hour and a half at the Animal Welfare League. You haven't been there. So you met with Jason. He showed you a great facility. Now you want to roll with that. There are other options in the county.
I don't
We got to
know.
put on our
Why are
horizons
you
with
beating
this.
up on this individual?
I love Jason. He does a great job, but he's doing stuff that he's doing our job. And we don't need him to.
He's
We
not
have a
doing-
dog warden. We
he's
have
not-
a staff.
He's not doing our job.
He's
okay?
doing our job every day. Jason, how many 911 calls did you get in the last month?
So
From our 911 center.
So Jason Cook, Healthy Hearts and Paws Project. Just a couple things, and I'll answer that in a second. I brought this to the commissioner's attention because I feel that there wasn't enough movement on the project. And what we were experiencing at the shelter, it needed to be said. Addressing the fundraising, I want my donors to support this because this is going to help.
So what are you gonna do when you need money? How are you funded? You funded how much percentage by donors?
I don't have an answer.
100%?
Oh, 100%, yeah, we're-
So you're gonna give up your donors to fund a dog pound, you're not gonna feed your dogs?
I didn't say that. But, I mean, we support lots of nonprofits. We help other nonprofits with spay neuter. We help the public with spay neuter. But this particular project would benefit us and the dogs, and it needs to be done. And I'm willing to go to people that support us and say, you know what? Go to the 717, go to wherever, drop some money. We're okay. We have no employees at our shelter. I have, my budget is I gotta pay my electric, I gotta pay my gas, I gotta pay my water, insurance, make sure we have.
How many people you have on your board of directors?
4. We have a small board, but we have no employees, no payroll. We have 104 volunteers. If money that we get when somebody wants to donate goes to the pound, God bless them, because we need the pound to get done. Now, the next thing, yeah, I do get a lot of calls from Trumbull 911. And I do it on my own dime and I do it on my own time, but I do it because I want to help out. There's not enough staff right now. I don't think Michelle has enough staff. And so just last night, Trumbull 911 called about Bezetta. It had a dog. There's no way the dog warden's gonna go out there at 3 in the morning and get a stray dog. So I just say, hey, you know what? I'll get.
Why not? Oh, don't we pay dog wardens to do that?
We do go
So,
out.
I'm just saying, Jason, you do way a ton for the county, way more than you're supposed to, way more than you have to.
So let me continue to help you. I want you to get this town built. That's why I brought it to you. And that's why I had Mr. Hernandez or Bernard, Mr. Hernandez, Mr. Bernard come out last week, and why I want Mr. Hernandez to come out, and why I asked you to come out to see our facility, see what I think we might be you brought up location. I didn't want to bring up location today. You brought it up. Why I think it might be a better location. And
Where, your place?
yeah,
We got a big county out there, and we got people missing dogs in Hartford, Bristol, Kinsman. I'm not sending them down to go look for their lost dog that was picked up in Kinsman down the Warren. Why would we do that?
Well, I, you know what, and Jason, I
We're getting
appreciate, we're getting off track.
Okay.
Listen, I really believe, and I think, Commissioner, I know you're passionate wanting to get this done.
There's been 2 years of
It has.
these meetings and
And I
again.
feel the same passion.
And you've been kicking it, not
But
all of us.
No, you have been kicking it.
Here,
Again, you had the money
Excuse me.
and you didn't correct.
but here's what we gotta do. We really gotta agree. Now, I am in agreement with Commissioner Bernard about some of the choices of what, I don't know what Michelle feels about it. I would like to get her thoughts on it, about Jason and about the Voices the individual from Voices, if he's willing to do it.
Well, I mean, I guess we have to go back with what guidelines are we setting? What is the purpose of this committee? Is it
Well-
fundraising? Is it advisory? You know,
Well-
there's so many questions I can't answer,
Well,
but
it's definitely advisory.
I still don't know the guidelines.
It's absolutely advisory, but / fundraising, as long as we can work that out
Fundraising or acceptance.
within the limits of what we're allowed to do. And that would be hinged on, Bill, whatever the prosecutor's office finds that we can do.
I think the first step is, we have to know where we want to put it, how much, is the facility adequate? That we want to build, and how much money we need. Okay, right now, we don't have any of those answers to any of those questions. I think that part of the advisory panel can help us answer all those questions.
If it's advisory, at least to
And then we
start,
can always expand it, correct?
at least an advisory to start.
Right.
And then expand into when we find out about, where we're headed, what direction we're going with fundraising efforts for it. And then, Commissioner, look at all the options. I had a discussion with Michelle, quite honestly, I didn't even think about it. And Jason and I had about a 1-hour discussion after that meeting last week. And Michelle, she's concerned about the cost factor of what it's going to cost. And then Jason, you and I had a discussion, and in all honesty, I was very positive about the future of Trumbull County Commissioner, because I really feel that with what we see, we're going to see our economic expansion. We're going to be seeing, I know we don't like to talk about this, but I think we're going to be seeing some good employment numbers come in next year. So I don't have as much issue with it moving
We're
forward,
also
but
going to see possibly some funding cuts also. From the state.
well, that's
that,
true.
That we have to look at. So we
So
have to
this is
take-
why we need
have
to set
take
this up.
Everything into consideration. And I think we start with an advisory panel, okay? They help us zero it, I want to listen to them, they're the professionals, okay? I want to hear their recommendations on where it should go, what we should build, all right? Jason knows how to do it.
Commissioner, you don't understand, we did that. Well, I looked at
You didn't
6
do it.
different locations before we settled on the one that we had.
No.
I met with people the same way
Who
that
said that we settled on that location?
the last board of directors
Where's
did.
it at? Where's
So
the-
we want to go backwards, let's start all
No,
over
that's
again.
not backwards, just show me where we've decided.
We did, you didn't even know we had a place last week.
And no one showed me that resolution.
Okay, it's been sitting in Rick's desk in his office since you were.
I asked for the resolution last week, where's it at?
Did you get a copy of the resolution, Lisa? Right, well, you could ask for it.
I did ask for it.
Well,
And no
it
one
was not.
showed me. Well, show me where.
We spent a guy died and left us $200,000. He wanted it to go to the dog pound. Guess what? We spent his money on architectural drawings
He didn't.
that you want to throw away now.
No,
maybe.
he didn't tell you where it should go.
No, that's where it was decided to
Let me
use
tell
that.
you something, Commissioner, if the dog warden is questioning us putting it there, then I'm gonna question it also.
Did you have questions last year when we picked them, Michelle? You were in on all those talks there too, at the Animal Welfare League property.
No, at that point, no, I didn't, no.
But you're not convinced that's the best location.
I mean, as of right now, no, I am not convinced that that is the right location. I'm not saying Jason's is the right location, not at all.
Right.
I'm not saying that at all. I don't wanna go backwards. I wanted to go forward. Like I said, just some things have come to light. Hopefully, once we form the committee, we can talk about those things and just make sure it is the right place to go. And I'm not saying I don't wanna go to EWL. I just wanna make sure that we are going, to the best location that we can. That's it.
So we're gonna take another year, another 6 months, 3 months, what's the time
Listen,
frame?
I've been waiting decades.
What's your hurry
For this.
Why are you pushing so fast?
Because we got 3 things that have been on the
Let's-
table since I got here. We got over the Nikki Frenchman fiasco.
And all this right now, it's just like.
Because we have 0 debt on our books for the county.
No, we got $5 million.
Okay, Lake County's building a building for 200 million.
And
Every county around it's got 10 million or more on
that
the
doesn't mean
books.
that I wanna go in debt for 200.
I would, if it was my choice, I would take out a note tomorrow and put a shovel in the ground next week to start building a dog
It's your
park.
choice. You
And I would
do
move
taxes.
911 next week, and I would tell John, in EMA,
Look, I'm not gonna
I'll
argue
do
with it. I'm gonna say one final thing. You had the money to correct it. You didn't do it. Now we're gonna correct it. This board's gonna correct it, but you had the money to
So
correct it.
Jason Cook helped me hearts.
Commissioner, when we're done, I'll drive which ambulance you wanna go repo. We bought 9 of them, apparently what we did wasn't good enough for the money.
That's it.
I'll drive, you can repo the ambulance from
Well, what's more
Graceville,
important,
Allen.
town 911 or the coroner's office for buying an ambulance?
So Jason.
Depends on who you're talking, the townships absolutely loved it,
So Commissioner.
they didn't have the money.
When I came to speak a few weeks ago at the meeting, I don't believe that unless there was things going on that I was unaware of, that there was any progress being made with Trumbull Town. So I
We
understand.
were waiting for funding, it was all funding.
And I understand the urgency to get the project moving forward. But I don't see the harm in just taking a little bit more time, doing our due diligence, just to make sure. Nobody is saying that that is the wrong location.
No, no.
Nobody's saying that that's not the right design. Nobody's saying that we need to scale up, scale down. But will it hurt to just sit down and put our collective heads together and make sure it's, because once it's done, it's done. There's no going back. I don't want there to be regrets. I don't want there.
I agree, how many more times am I gonna go to a public function and have a Danuta Allen or someone else come up to me and say, when are you gonna do something about that damn dog pound? We're tired of waiting, we're tired of waiting. And these are people from the Voices, these are some of your donors, these are people that are fed up, they're tired of waiting. Where is our dog pound? I just had somebody go there to look at an animal and the dog was in a horrible shape, needed a bath, was horrible at the dog pound. And then I get the phone call afterward that it was someone that rescues border collies. And they heard one was there and they said the dog was, you can't adopt the dog out of that facility. We don't have a place to show the dog off correctly. We don't have a place to bathe it and do the right things to get that dog adopted. We need a better conditions to make this whole process move forward.
And I
It's
agree with you.
embarrassment where we are.
And I know Danuta, she volunteers at our shelter.
That's right.
And if
And
somebody.
you heard the same stuff I hear
Yeah.
every day.
And if somebody asks you, I'll take the blame if I'm asking just for not 2 weeks, just enough time for me, Michelle, others to just sit down and just look over everything. And then it'll move forward. And then I think it'll be fine.
But does it move forward to?
What's that?
But what is it?
Amanda, give your.
Amanda Aber, what would it move forward to after that? If you take 2 weeks to, check over everything, does it then move to strictly fundraising?
Jason Cook, Health and Arts. I would say that if me and Michelle and whoever looks everything over, we come back to the commissioners, we give them their findings, they make their decision. Okay, that's the location, that's the build. All right, there. Pass your resolution, what have you, and then we can go forward with how we're gonna fundraise, how we're gonna pay for it. If they don't want me to sit on the fundraising aspect of it, I won't, but I'm still gonna ask people to support it because it's that important to me. So I think this has to be the first step, or we're just. You have these jars that are going up at 717, but we don't have a definitive place where it's going yet.
Right.
And we don't have an idea of. I love the design. I hope that, you can work it financially, but does it get scaled down to start off? I don't know, but I just want 2 weeks. Just Michelle and I talk every day, not about this matter, just because we're both dealing with a lot of dogs. Just let us sit down and share some ideas and talk with the commissioners about my property. Maybe it's not the right property, but I would still like you to come out and see it. Commissioner Malloy was the only one that came out and saw my property when we first got it out of the original 3 commissioners. And he's always been a good supporter of me. It's changed.
And I still am. You don't get that wrong.
You are. And it's changed since then. So I would like to at least come out and hear what I have to say. Why I think if you are considering other locations, and I'm not saying that that's gonna happen, why this might be a good fit. And I don't want to get into that discussion, but just come out. That's all I'm asking. When the commissioner came out, Bernard, I think he was there, an hour?
At least an hour.
He asked a lot of questions. I showed him around the shelter. I'd like to do the same for you.
Yeah, and I'm coming. It'll be this week.
And, I just want to talk with Michelle because this affects us. And more importantly, it affects the dogs. I just want to make sure it's right. It has become too hard on her having to hold 14 dogs. it's become too hard on us. We have 124 dogs. We can't, nobody wants this project to get done yesterday more than I do, but I want to make sure that it's done right. Because we're never, at least as long as I'm on this earth, we're never gonna have an opportunity to do this again. We're never gonna have a discussion about putting up a new pound, probably in the next 20, 30 years. So if you give us the opportunity to allow us to just look at it and talk with everybody, I'm all for it.
Lisa, what did you find there? You got some,
Yeah, she has a resolution or was approved by 2-1 on the commissioners for the site. That doesn't mean that if this board doesn't feel that's the proper site, then we can't change that.
What's that? I'm sorry.
Back in April 10th of 2024 was 2 commissioners voted for the site, 1 commissioner voted nay on it. But
and that one commissioner was never gonna vote
Well-
yes on any of it. You asked why wasn't it done with ARPA funds? We would have been in the same boat where we had one commissioner was gonna vote no.
well, we don't know.
Does that mean that you have to follow through with this, or you have a new
No.
board?
No, we can change this resolution, nothing's been voted on.
Commissioners, you just.
I agree with 11% what Jason just said. He's asking for 2 weeks to make sure that we move forward in a direction that we all want to move forward. Okay, I think that's part of the past board's decisions. They made decisions without getting all the information, and I just want to make sure we have all the information. Maybe Animal Welfare League is the best location, but we don't know that. And I agree with him 100%. And I'm for naming those 3 individuals, give them 2 weeks to come back to us and see where we're at.
Well, and Ms. Ross, I hate putting you on the spot.
Sorry.
Do you, with that in mind, and what Commissioner Bernard just mentioned, and what I am not against. I know that there's some that would say, listen, there's a lot of people out there, hey, there's people don't like me, there's people don't like you, there's gonna be a lot of conflict. You shouldn't have picked that, you shouldn't have picked, but that's life, right? That's what we go through now. In your professional opinion, do you like what you just heard with who the commissioner had mentioned, with Jason and with, again, I hate to put you on the spot, but you have to be, you're gonna be the spearhead of this. You work for the county.
Sure.
You are the dog warden.
Sure. I mean, if we are going to start out as an advisory committee, then absolutely,
Okay.
I'd just like somebody to give me a good reason why we shouldn't have active 501s on our committee, especially ones that solely raise money for my facility.
Right.
And the help that he does for the community. I guess my question would be, why wouldn't we want them on the advisory committee? I feel like they would bring a lot to the table, a lot of ideas. And of course, we have, again, we're not the only committee members, we wouldn't be. And again, this goes back to guidelines. Are you each gonna choose 2 committee members for yourself? Do you know what I mean? I still have to go back to the guidelines on, how many members do we add them as we go, but I still think we just have to have some type of guidelines. And then again, back to this question, do you want an application process? Is there going to be an application process for?
Well,
I think we're just going too deep into this thing. Advisory, if we're taking advice and you're looking at things, I agree. Your input is important. Jason's input's important. Voice's input's important. They could do that without an official board panel thing.
Right.
When I recommended we have a board, I was thinking fundraising. I was thinking
Okay.
finding a chair of a prominent person that's gonna go out there and ask other rich people to match what they put in here and actually get a campaign going to raise money so that we can put the shovel in the ground at the location that I thought we already voted on to move forward on. That's when I spoke to said to have this committee, the subcommittee, this advisory board was for that. Because I can't be the one asking, Rick shouldn't be the one asking, you shouldn't be the one asking, but we need someone prominent for the community to do that.
Sure.
But I truthfully believe though, Commissioner, that if these three, these are power players here. Jason, power. Health or Voices, power. Michelle, power with the pound. I believe that once this committee is formed, these three power players, that those people see that board and they start asking, where am I sending the money? I believe that those donations will start really ramping up. I believe that.
There's new money out there that has never donated to either
Well,
of these groups before.
I don't know. I think they'll see,
That
I
has
think they'll
money
see that
in the
we're moving
business
forward to do something here.
Jason Cook with the Healthy Hearts. I would like to propose, not a compromise, but when it comes to the fundraising aspect, to avoid any conflict, you could have a fundraising committee. You just, at the end of the day, you tell me who I want people to send a check to, what bank you want them to go to help support it. I don't need to go out and make those particular decisions if it's going to create a conflict. I just want to be able to go out on my Facebook page, which has 50,000 followers, not quite as many as Voices, and say, you know what? You can go to this bank, you can donate, you can mail a check here to donate. If you want to put your name on something, it's not going to take away from us, Commissioner Moy. It's going to help us and it's going to help you. So to avoid the conflict when it comes to that part, that's fine. I'm not going to take any offense to it.
Well, I think it's protecting you more than anything, because I think down the road, we're gonna get big donations, and there's gonna be tempting
You just tell me
at that
what
point.
you just ask of me what you want me to do to help and I'll do it.
So are you talking about forming two boards then?
I have no idea.
Well,
Because you would need one for fundraising, because if Jason's gonna bow out of that.
Oh,
Then are you just starting are you doing one, or are you doing two?
I think we ought
it's
to.
advisory. It's advisory for
I
now.
said it 15 minutes ago. I think we need to do one to make sure our location and our design is proper,
Right.
okay? And I think they've got the expertise on that, okay? I know what I think. They deal with it every day,
Oh, yeah, they're the.
okay?
Okay,
And
but
I
after
agree.
that 2
Those three,
weeks.
these three individuals are very, very involved in what we should need for the dollars. And I again, I would like to have those three on there to start, and we could go further, but.
And I don't want to put a time limit on it, 2 weeks. You're talking about 2 weeks, but I'm saying this board might be out there for 2 months. I mean, you guys might be making some
I
discussion.
want you to come back with a decision.
Huh?
That's right.
It's been,
We're not gonna rush it.
years.
We are not gonna rush this. We're gonna do it right.
I'm the only one in this room, other than Michelle, that's been coming here for years advocating
have.
for this pound, before any of you were here. So I've been here, I've been doing this. I know that you have the land, I know that you have designs, and Michelle wants to review that. Great, she absolutely should, but you don't need to set up a board for that. If you want to set up a board for fundraising, do that. Stop going 15 different directions. Pick one and do it.
And just go help. Can't fundraise if you don't know where it's going.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but you don't need a
We
board
don't,
for
I don't
that.
think Michelle, Trumbull County Health Board. I'm not sure any of us can even say an exact number on what the project cost right this second, correct?
We've had no.
It was 3.3, with inflation, we could figure it's gonna be about 4 million. We've already got the sanitary engineer did his estimates, we've
Yeah.
had the logistics of the one facility. You're ready for a shovel to hit the ground and build and send it out to bid. We're at that point.
And I talked.
Clearly, I mean, we're at that point,
Sure, no,
resolution.
I get it. I mean, I get all this. I was part of all this. I mean, when I talked to the architect 2 days ago or last week, he didn't even think we would be at 3.3 million. So, I mean, that's a good thing. But I guess I'm just, like I said, I'm just saying, I don't think we have, we could get a better idea of exactly. I mean, if we're putting together a fundraising committee, we need more of an exact, that, hey, this is our goal, this is what we want to try to get for our facility. And I don't think that we have accurate numbers, especially since that drop, it has been so long. So that would be something that I would like to revisit also. What is the total cost on that for us now? Because again, I did talk to the architect, who thinks it is, we're not even gonna come in at that, which is good.
Bill Danso, prosecutor's office, just to be clear on that too. once the commissioners settle finally on the location and the design, there will be bid specs that will be built out based on the technical drawings of that, whatever building it is proposed, if it's this one, if it's a different one. And the part of that is there will be a requirement for an updated engineer's estimate of construction costs, because that will go out with the bid package. And that's, as the commissioners know, that if the bids come in and exceed that by a certain percentage, you have to reject the bids, but it gives you that final estimate that's gonna be the one that's used. But again, that's not gonna come until you guys settle on a location and
Right.
design, you know.
But at that point, we're gonna have to fund this thing, take a note, do whatever, and we're gonna be paid back by these
Well, that's-
donations. We can't
that's-
sit and wait.
That's
Well, when
like-
they give us 2 million, then we'll kick in 2 million. Doesn't work that
No,
way.
that's those bid spec, that's like when the shovels are going into the ground, like you have everything else lined up. Whether it's by taking out the debt or whatever it's gonna be, yeah, but it will come eventually there, where you will have that final estimate. I'm sure you could ask the engineers for an updated estimate, and maybe they would do that for you in the meantime, but there will be at least one more formal one before that goes out to bid.
But these are things that this board can discuss amongst each other about these things, and then question and come to the commissioners and say, listen, this is what we discussed, this is what the feelings are, you know what I mean? And then we can move from there on making a decision
Right,
about.
and this is part of a
location.
bigger picture, and we're saying that's what we want to get to that point. 911 review board already did look to locations in Trumbull County. They already settled in on the 911 review board that this is where we want to go, is the Cortland Bank building. We're gonna do anything on that? They just did exactly what we're asking this board to do.
Yeah.
Coroner's ready too. John Hickey's ready. He's every day he's calling, asking if he could start painting. Is this board gonna act on those things?
Where are you gonna get the money at, Mr. McCoy?
All right, let's take a note.
I am not gonna go in debt $12 million.
Let's take a note for $5 million to get the corner 911 moved.
I'm not taking a note on anything until I know exactly what we're doing, all right? We also have a proposal in, we're waiting for the federal government to say that we can use that ARP money, all right?
Right.
That's not gonna cost us the dime. So I'm not gonna put the added expense on the taxpayers' back that we don't have to, all right? Plain and simple. We have to wait till the process. We've asked the Treasury Department, well, let's wait back. And we all know the moves, all right? We can save $1.5 million, $2 million. I say, let's wait till we can get that answer. I'm not putting anything on, you know what? What's gonna happen?
So officially for the record, we're not spending a penny until we hear.
No,
about
here's what I'm saying, okay? You know, next year, if property tax comes off, we're gonna be down $8 million. Every time you borrow money, you're gonna have to pay it back. We're gonna have to, we could face major cuts in this county, and I think it's the wrong time to go out there and borrow $12 million.
And one of our loved ones dies next week, and the coroner's gonna butcher him in a garage with no ventilation.
And I'm trying
And we're okay
to
with
take care of that, okay? That you had the money to take care of, and you didn't do it.
Okay, but I don't want, commissioners, let's not get too crazy. with
I-
that.
So we had ARPA money. He had a hospital. We didn't know the hospital was
But we don't-
closing.
Listen,
You
we're
had the
talking
money
about,
and you didn't do it.
we're talking about the dog, we're talking about the dog pound.
Right.
I think that we should move forward with the three that we discussed. Use this as an advisory at this point and let them talk amongst themselves and figure out from there where to go with funding, with fundraising efforts. That's my opinion.
Let's start with step one.
I'm just,
and go to step two.
and Commissioner, it might only be a few weeks down the road that we get all this information in and, you know, move forward with something, but there's too many things, gray areas out there right now. Things are just too gray to say, yeah, we're gonna do this, we're gonna move with that. We got that location with, you know, there's other things. Michelle has ideas. I'm sure you could talk amongst each other. Now, they may wanna, we may add members. I'm not sure at this point where we're going with it. Danny, you had mentioned some, you know, some that were like.
Well, when we talked last week publicly that we're looking at applications, I had 3 different people reach out to me that had community involvement,
Okay.
pretty good qualifications. One
can
was
we-
Animal Welfare League Humane Officer,
Can we,
former one.
can we
So-
get them and get them their application? So we just look at it. We don't have a need to have to look at applications here. We
Well,
know
if he's
what they
gonna
do.
volunteer for the county, like she just said earlier, we talked about liability and stuff. We need to get an application from anybody.
I think, yeah, we need to outline the process.
And we,
Okay.
Jason gave her just like anyone else can get hurt.
When you guys need me, you let me know. I'm just taking it all in, okay?
I would, Jason, Cook, help you right. I would just like to end my part of this. This is the first time in years that we have 3 commissioners that all want the same thing. It was a battle with the prior commissioner. I didn't felt like every time we tried to take one step forward, we couldn't. And this is the first time that I've talked and all 3 of you want the same thing. You guys want the dog pound, want the dogs to have somewhere to go. He wants to be
Fiscally responsible.
fiscally responsible, and which I agree. And Mr. Malloy wants to tap the private sector. So maybe after we sit down, we can all, and maybe it could be a nice, wouldn't it be nice to just be able to go out with your shovels and say, look, we did it, it's happening, it's funded, and it's gonna be here soon.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I want to thank all 3 of you, because I know it's not, listening to that you went through, everything that you have to do with this county, and God bless you.
Oh, well, Jason,
That's
this is what we're elected to do.
I
But
understand
you do more than what, believe me, what you do is nobody does
You
it.
guys gotta do everything.
But, so. Danny,
I'm okay as long as we're moving forward. I'm ready now. I want sooner than later. I want now, but I can
we're
wait.
in agreement.
I brought it up to 3.
Now, we'll have to have then, Alex, do we have an application or anything that we could utilize?
Where we can outline the process of what anybody who would like to be on the committee has to do. Okay,
Can we get that to Jason, and then now the other fellow, I've never personally met him.
No,
I mean,
we'll
you can
just
get
see how.
Can I just look at this and what I'd like to pursue on the side?
Or 2, I don't know. After this is all, if you want.
Amanda's been here since day one.
I know she has. I've been here before I was a commissioner. Amanda was here.
I was the one that took him to town.
I understand.
Right, you took me on the tour. So, yeah, and to be honest with you, Commissioner, Amanda, or Avery.
Close enough.
Very good choice, moving down the road if we want, if we
I
want.
don't even think down the road, but we could put Amanda on the same.
Well,
Right
why
now.
don't
You
we
have no
just-
problem with that.
Do you have any issue with that?
Well, I don't, but what about the application? I
She
just want
needs
to be
an
fair.
application.
What about the application
I think we
process
stick with
for
this
everybody?
3.
You know,
and
just
we
so that.
expand, we expand it when we decide on any.
Okay, but still give her an application.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna look on the side. I got this thing with 717 rolling. There's some money people involved with that, and I'll look at maybe the donor thing is a whole separate entity of people
Maybe
that
it is.
form underneath, maybe under 717.
Maybe it
With
is.
their own committee, their own thing to raise money to
Right.
give to
I don't
us.
disagree with that. At least we got something that,
Well, I would like to have 717 come in, and that's all here, the proposal, so we all know how they
Yeah.
want to set it up and what's going on.
right,
So Bill Danzo, prosecutor's office, I just wanted to kind of throw one thing out on that, the reason we're looking at that, and if 717 maybe can weigh in with their own take on it, I'd be totally fine with it, but the one thing that gives me a little bit of pause, and don't get me wrong, I really appreciate that offer they've made, and I hope it can work out. So this isn't me trying to sabotage anything, but one of the constitutional provisions we have in Ohio is counties are not allowed to lend their aid and credit to private enterprise. And one of the things that gives me a little bit of concern is, could this be viewed as the county, sort of allowing 717 to kind of use the county's dog pound and name to sign up customers? I know that's not their intent. I get that. But I think we need to be cautious of how the county itself partners with private enterprises like credit unions, banks, other things like that. Because it's like I said, it's a constitutional provision. It's something that's not easy to, work around. There's some AG opinions out there on this when it comes into things like using the county's logo in advertising and things. This is a little bit different because there is a benefit to the county, clearly that you can see. But I think it's something that's my main point of research right now on that issue. And if there's any other counties around the state that have dealt with things like this, I'd be curious about that too. I'm looking for that right now. But that's one of my main sort of avenues that I need to firm up before we can move forward with 717. But that being said, I don't have any problem with seeing their proposal, hearing from them, seeing how we can work through it, because I think it's a fantastic offer.
Yeah.
And I'd like to be able to see us.
Do you think that maybe their legal counsel would be able to
That's
weigh
a
in on this?
possibility if they've ever encountered that working with a public entity before, we can see.
Right.
And like I said, I'm going right now through some opinions of the Attorney General, trying to figure out. One thing I would say that I would rule out, depending on how we move forward on this, is perhaps go to the Attorney General for our own opinion on some fundraising questions, just to make sure that, maybe we could get the blessing on something moving forward that would help everybody in the state then, maybe, we'll see. But those are all the things on my radar right now, at least, and that's why there's a little bit of a slowdown while I research that end of it, because I don't want to see any of the county officials getting into hot water by, going against something like that.
Exactly. I appreciate that.
Jason Cook, County Records. I also think that with what Commissioner Malloy proposed, in the private sector, perhaps that'll help with your grant process. I don't know what a grant you applied for. I don't know if you applied for the total amount, but when our nonprofit applies for grants, I would use an example like the Harnett Foundation. They want to see what we're doing. They don't want us to rely solely on them. And I see that a lot with grants that I fill out. So I think it would be, in addition, for when you apply for a grant, say, look, this is what we revisited the plan. We're starting to partner with some banks. We're anticipating X amount of dollars to help with the project. Maybe it'll help facilitate a grant. Then that will alleviate his concerns about, a tax or a loan or what have you. I don't know. It's just an option.
Well, and those are things that will come together as things are formed. But, without forming it, it's not going to happen. So
Yes,
we
correct.
have to have this nucleus, and then we expand from there. We'll get the commissioner, those applications you had mentioned, those individuals. Amanda, I think is a good choice, but we'll get the application going. And Alex, if you could work on getting us those for them, and
Where do they pick the applications up at the?
I'm not sure, that was
Michelle's
my
office?
question.
Well, I think they should pick them up at your office.
Okay.
And then you could distribute them and make sure we
Okay.
get copies of them.
Okay. They can also take a peek at the facility. All there.
okay. Are we good with this? We know pretty much where we're at with it. We will in the form, I guess, we'll have to have a resolution. I don't know if you want to vote on that now.
No, I think.
Oh, no, we got to do the application, right?
Do we need an application for?
Yeah, well,
All three buildings?
it's being suggested because
Okay.
you don't want to have, with the exception of
She's an employer,
Michelle.
Yeah.
But you don't want to have, you don't want to single somebody out, not,
Well, maybe
Sure,
they
you
can get
okay
the
with it?
application by tomorrow for
You
us.
all right?
Yeah, fill that out.
Yeah,
Huh?
absolutely.
No,
But
I'm
that's not
talking to
fair for
sheriff, poor sheriff back there. Oh.
If you can get Michelle the application,
doing
maybe
us
they can fill it out
a favor.
tomorrow.
She don't like.
But not everyone can do that.
Well, for the main three.
But if you're doing applications, then there should be a timeline for those applications.
Well, for the other ones, yeah, but I'm talking about for tomorrow. For the three names.
No, it should be fair for everyone.
Well, they are fair, but we're gonna
No.
move ahead and appoint.
We haven't even talked this, we're dominating the guy that's not even here.
I
We
mean,
don't even know if he's gonna put in, not put in, what's going on.
Yeah, he wants to put in.
Doesn't.
I thought, and I'm going with, who they represent. The 70,000 people. I mean, and Michelle and I think Jason have both worked with that organization, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
are you talking about voices?
Yes. Yeah. So, you know what? I put his name on it. If you want to vote against it, you vote against it. That's all.
Well, I don't know how soon they could get the application.
Well, that's what I said. If they can get the application before
Yeah.
Michelle leaves, and if they can get it filled out, fine.
I just want Jason Cook, Healthy Hearts. I will say, you know, a thing about Amanda and others, I think it's good to have people on the committee that have skin in the game, that have put in the hours, have seen how it used to be, how it is now, and how it should be. And in this case, I think it's the more the better. I don't think there's not be too many cooks in this kitchen because we all should come to an agreement that we're doing this for the betterment of the dogs and take everybody's ideas into considerations. I don't know everything. Michelle doesn't know everything. So I welcome any experts and anyone that would like to lend insight on this. Because I'm excited. I want to get it.
I mean, either, I think I'm the only one that's been to like multiple facilities in multiple counties. I've seen what works here, what doesn't work there. So I think the application process should be fair and that you give, because there's a couple other people that Michelle mentioned, I know aren't gonna be able to get it in today. They work regular jobs and it's just not possible.
Okay, well,
So I
let's,
think if you give it a
let's-
week.
let's play that part of it, but see how that transitions,
More reason.
right? And
Can you print out an application today and I'll take it back and fill it out? Okay.
we could probably have several, well, a few of them, right, for, to get to.
I am just here to do whatever collectively the board of commissioners wants me to do as
Just get the applications in to Michelle and she can distribute it. Anybody wants it can get it from Michelle.
Not here to say who can apply, that's up to the board and I'll just get you your applications and. that's that.
Anybody can apply.
Lastly, sorry, Jason Cook, Healthy Hearts. When would you like to come out to our shelter? When would you like to come out to our shelter? And it doesn't have anything to do.
Text me, you have my number, text me that address, then I'll get it.
And it doesn't have anything to do.
Oh, he don't like the text?
It's easier for me.
He's terrible.
But it doesn't make, obviously I want you to look at our property,
What's your-
but I really want you to see what's happening, like how many dogs, how bad it is right now. And see how we manage with just a very band of volunteers. And you probably gain a great appreciation for what she does with a facility that can only hold 14 dogs. I don't know how she does it. Because that's the entire county.
Right. What's your address, Jason? I should have got it.
909 Martin Luther King, Southwest, Warren, Ohio.
Okay.
Super monitor. Go all the way down.
You know what?
They're super on.
Oh, okay. I know where, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So commissioners, are we good? Do we need a motion to adjourn?
So are you making the committee today or no? Or are you gonna wait?
Well, we're gonna wait till the applications are filled out.
Well, how long are you getting?
Well, we're gonna have to find out how long it's gonna take. Huh? What's that?
We're gonna do this next week then?
It could be, I don't know. Depends on when the applications come in. We know Jason's gonna have his in, Amanda will have hers in. But I don't know about the other individual, if he'll be able to get that.
You can reach out, can't you, Michelle?
Yeah.
Find out.
Okay.
Why don't you put a deadline on, Amanda Aber, why don't you put a deadline on when you want the applications back so that you can make a decision next week?
Well, I
Say
don't know
that
that we need,
the applications need to be in by Monday.
well, Danny, you're working on some things, right? We don't, or you want to work on a fundraising end of it?
Oh, we're on a fundraising end.
Okay, so that's gonna be separate.
Yeah, I think it should be at this point.
Do we want to put a timeline on it?
We could set two, you want to set
Like a week?
What do you want? A week, 2 weeks? What do you think?
Jason Cook, Healthy Hearts. What I would like to see is I will get my application in today,
Okay.
right at the end of business. Michelle does meet one,
All
correct?
right,
So let's get the committee started. And then we can issue recommendations, ask those people to fill out applications. So if we get the committee started tomorrow, then, immediately Michelle and I would get together and say, hey, what about Amanda? What about this nobody says it has to be 3 today. That gentleman's not here.
no, yeah, I didn't.
So if
Amanda
you
made
get
that
two,
comment
then we'll
about it.
need two, at least 2 for tomorrow is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, and then
It could be 2, it could be 3.
then we'll come to you with our recommendations, ask them to fill out the application. Then there's no deadline, Amanda, because as maybe this goes on for 2-3 weeks, if we decide we want to add somebody to get a little more insight, just ask them to fill it out when the time comes. See, there's a compromise there.
Well, first of all,
The other
this is,
question is, we don't even know how many members we want on.
right, right.
You know, we got to figure out how many members names
Right.
to be on there. Are we talking
Right.
5? Are we talking 15? You know, what are we talking? You know,
Yeah.
And I think we're gonna need some input there too. I mean,
Amanda Avery, that's what Michelle asked you for. She asked you for guidelines, and not one of you has set guidelines.
Well, because
She
really the
asked
new,
you that explicitly. Do it. How many people do you want? When do you want them to start? What exactly do you want them to do? She can't do her job if you don't give her those specific parameters. She
well,
needs to know
well,
what
we
she's
told them
going
we
with.
want them to look at the site, we want them to look at the design, okay? The only thing we haven't told them is how many members we want on there.
That's very
Because,
important.
because, well, I don't know if we have to name that right now, okay? And I don't think we have to decide that right now. Maybe I want some input from them saying what my number is and what your number is and what Commissioner Hernandez's number is might be different. Right now, my number is no more than 9. And I don't know whether that's a good number or a bad number. That's what I'm thinking in my mind. Somewhere between 5 and 9 is what everybody tells me that's where you should be.
Jason Cook, Healthy Hearts. I agree with that.
Cut it at 7.
Sometime between 5, maybe 7.
Yeah, cut it at 7.
Seven's
Yeah.
great number.
I actually thought 5
Yeah.
power players, but if you wanted 7, you know, if
Well,
there's somebody that comes on board that's
The
strong.
only thing I have with 5 is that we have 3 here, then it only leaves us 2 for out in the community. And maybe we need some more of those community-minded people. And that's why I'm thinking maybe 9
Okay,
or 7. I would say either 7 or 9.
Sure.
well,
I'm just gonna leave this here, Alex, Steve, Jonesy Bush. I think that you're all working through things that were, again, presented last week. There's some key things, and I will leave it at that. Your guys' choice, purpose, topics, decision-making authority, timeline, deliverables, and accountability. That's your scope right there. If you can identify that, I think you've, just for this discussion, identified a couple, but that's it, and then you're right. But I do believe full-heartedly, so we don't have what happened in the past happen again. Because this has happened. You need to have accountability and deliverables. What are the deliverables?
Can you explain that?
So identify the purpose of your scope. So I think what I'm still not sure on, but that's between the board who's here right now is, I guess it's advisory for now. Is that what you're saying?
yes.
Okay, it's advisory for now. It may evolve, but for right now, for all intents and purposes, it sounds like it's advisory. Topics, what specific areas? So Commissioner, I'm just kind of trying to be a uniter here, because what we don't need again is to start on a path where we don't know what we're doing or we're not all on the same page. I hear all of you. Topics, I've heard Commissioner Bernard say, I want you to go look at this, or I want you to do that. Let's give some ground here. What do you want to see done? So that way they can come back to the Board of Commissioners, which gets into decision-making authority. You should be coming back to the Board of Commissioners, who is the ultimate appointing authority, who is the decision makers of, we did this, we did this, we did this. Here's our suggestions. I mean, it's really that, I'm not trying to make things simple, but, and then maybe if you can, give some sort of timeline. I understand you don't want a timeline, but I'm hearing one commissioner, I'm just trying to bring together what everybody is looking to do here in the best interest of Trumbull County and the dogs. That's it. So I just hit on purpose, topic, decision making, authority, timeline, deliverables. This board really needs to have a uniform decision on what we want to see come out of this. I think it's the who, what, where, when, and why. It's that simple. And then one thing that we do tend to lack in the past, and I hope that we can get better on, it's making sure we have an informed partners so that way we can actually move on those deliverables once that time comes. Okay. Did we get the team proper? Did we do what we needed to do? Did we need to secure them? Do we need to secure insurance? In the last area, not once was it ever brought up to county human resources insurance. How are we insuring this? I mean, there's things that we need to do. That we need to work through. Okay, and then last but not least is just accountability. Maybe once you set your chair people, you could give each person a slice of the pie. You're accountable for this part, you're accountable for that part, so on and so forth. So maybe there's. It's just.
Can I get a printout of that?
Yes, I gave it to the board last week.
Okay.
Yes, I will absolutely.
Maybe there doesn't course up and really cover the pound.
No, nothing's automatic, the new count. So what the drawings are, it was never once, was Corsa ever engaged? No, they weren't. So there are nuances to
What does that mean?
wherever you go to plans and build, we need to make sure that everything's properly vetted up front is all we're saying. So do we own the property? Is there portions that we don't own that we need to look at easements? That becomes an issue potentially with insurance. Is it documented correctly? There are so many things that if you're sharing a space, I'm just gonna throw that out there and Bill, I need you to kind of speak to that. I'm sorry, because when I say.
Yeah, that built into the prosecutor's office. There's some remaining stuff even at the AWL location that we need to firm up. We do have the deed transferring the underlying property to the Board of Commissioners. What it appears was not done at this point is there was also going to be an easement for the driveway access that was the AWL, obviously it's going to be a shared driveway. They were going to give us an easement over the driveway. There was another easement for us to jointly use an access road that goes to the AWL's, I guess you'd call it like a loading dock in the back of the facility.
Yeah.
Just some things like that that were not cleaned up. So I think there's a little bit of cleanup to do still, assuming that the board is moving still on that location. There's some remaining cleanup to be done on that. It's not the end of the world. It's all things that can be taken care of, but it was one of those that I think in the retirement of our former maintenance supervisor, and well, really, we had a couple retirements and people move along after elections. Those things sort of just got a little bit lost, but they're not, again, it's not anything that's fatal in the process.
Yeah, everything's doable. It's just, all I'm asking kindly is that we engage the proper parties ahead of time. So that way, we're not getting to a point where you have a beautiful button up and then it's like, whoa, 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 now we have to come to you and say, well, we gotta check, we gotta twerk some tweaks. That we don't wanna get to that. Is all, that's all I'm just saying.
Either. So does that mean that Corsa could say no to the land that's over at AWL if they don't want to insure there?
Not necessarily, I don't know that I don't, that's where I'm gonna leave it right now, is where we have some work to do. But again, we were never engaged in that. I'm gonna be quite
Bill
transparent.
Danso, prosecutor, the short version is that I think within reason, pretty much everything's insurable by Corsa. It just is gonna be a discussion of the cost of it, you know, the insurance for the current building that may be valued much less than a future building is gonna change, right? So those are the things that we just have to stay in touch with them on.
That's all we're asking, just that. We look at everything, if we're looking at an advisory panel collectively, we should also be looking at all of those things.
Yeah. Because Amanda Aber, in years that we've been talking about this, I've never heard that.
Well,
I
I
never
was
heard
never,
anything about the insurance. So,
yeah, I was never
I mean,
asked.
like, I agree with that, but
So
everybody needs to
I know,
make
sure.
communication. So that way everybody's on the same page.
Jason Cook, Health Park. Is it safe to say for right now, you would like us to look at sites, look at the design of the building? Is that what you're asking from this committee? What are thoughts on those two particular
I
items?
think those are the first two steps that we have to have answered.
So that would that be our scope then?
That's what I heard. Sure.
I think
Bernard, I mean, I just.
We have to know where we're going and what
Yeah.
we're building and how much.
Okay, that's not what he's asking. He's asking, Amanda Aber, under Alex's definition of scope, is that what you want them to do? Yes or no? You want them to suggest a location? Yes or no? You want them to suggest building designs? Yes or no? You want them to suggest A, B, or C? Yes or no?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
That, one commissioner, yes, that's what I.
That's what he's
Yeah,
asking.
and I said yes.
I would say they would just need to confirm what we already did, because we already have location voted on, we already have that. We would ask them to either confirm it or reopen it.
Do you think it would be okay to just say from the same location in general that includes any new potential and or what was already potentially on the table? Like if locations, if you leave it a little bit open ended, at least then you're exploring everything collectively. That makes sense.
Well, Jason Cook felt first. Are you saying that the location is set?
The location has been voted on by the past board of commissioners for the location and for the architectural drawing at that location.
So
And we have the deed to the property that was deeded to us by Animal Welfare League. So it's our property now.
So our property, right?
Jason Cook felt first. So what would our role be to post something that may go against that?
Right, if you want us to retract that, if you don't like that location, you decide there's something else, then we gotta go backwards from this. We gotta figure out what to do with that property, and we gotta say, we just wasted $210,000 for no reason.
Well, Jason Cook felt first. So we use the same architect. We use Baker Benner Snyder. I've met with David, trying not to get into the county business, but that is something you bring up, that this is what it costs. But how, I'd like to see a breakdown. How much of that was like water and sewer study? Like, how much would you actually lose if you went to a different location? I don't believe it would be 210,000. If we kept the same design and you move this building over here, I don't know how much of that would be a loss. I mean,
I think a lot, because the design was for that space. We got a big ravine on the backside. So I know part of it was the design of the structure to make sure it was supported with the hillside that was there.
Yeah.
And with sharing the driveway the way that it was, sharing the parking lot the way that it was, with the walkway going over the adjacent building, that was all part of the plan.
Yeah, Jason Cook Healthy Hearts. But those easements weren't done. This actually came up when I met with the architect, that the previous executive director at AWL or whomever, those easements weren't ever approved.
Correct. We didn't ask for it.
Yeah, so. I just want to be clear, I want to keep moving forward, but I would like us to do our due diligence.
I would say we don't need to start from scratch right away. We need to look at this first to see if that, understand that first. And then if there's alternatives, you have to sell us on the difference of why that one's so much better, that we're gonna take a loss of the money and how much are we gonna lose? And what are we gonna do with the property that we have after that?
Well, that's not the only design build that county spent money on, is not using. I mean, that Gibson building down there that they spend it on, we go on and on and on. And hopefully we can use this site. Let's just make sure it's the best site.
that's just what I'm trying to say. Nothing about Dog Hill, but in general. If the county can get to a place where we're not granted property, deeded property, we're taking on assets, right? Yes, it's small. I mean, this one happens to be smaller than what others. But at the end of the day, the only thing I can remind the board of commissioners is we have to insure all this buildings. We are insuring property that we may or may not be using at times. We are paying on property that we may or may not be using. So if this is the proper step to get everybody on the same page, so be it. But please, let's really make sure if that means, let's do it the right way. Let's make sure we checked all the boxes.
I looked at 6 locations personally with Bill Hart, and this one was the best, and I still firmly believe, with the dog park across the parking lot from it.
And it might.
The complex is great.
And it might very well be. That's not what I'm saying at all, but what I am saying is, let's just make sure we engage all the players and get this done like this.
I think we're all saying. I heard with the company.
And hopefully not, again, some long way. I get it, what everybody's saying. I get it.
Okay, commissioners.
Chairman, move we adjourn.
I'll second it.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Yes.
We'll get the applications.
Yes, no problem. And Jason.
You can do them to